What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? This is Cam, your man Cam, back here in LA. Mr. Cleavon up there in Northwest, man. You still full over that dinner, man, we had last week?
Oh man,
I mean,
Cam, I am still having flashbacks to how delicious that meal was. So succulent and juicy, man. The flavors, yeah, they still kick around in my mouth, man.
all right.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for you know, bringing that, full circle.
Oh shit! All I can do is remember the smell, man. Um, but it's week 144 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. However you're listening to us, wherever you're listening to us at, whether you're on working out, whether you're on your commute to work, whether you're at home chilling, doing folding clothes, or doing your laundry or doing your household chores. We appreciate you guys for tuning in to Voice of the Fans podcast. Just a reminder, we are on YouTube. It's YouTube at Voice of the Fans on YouTube, or you can hit us up on HMB Media TV. Make sure you check them out. Make sure you subscribe to both of those pages, Voice of the Fans on YouTube, HMB Media TV. You can find us at any of the platforms. And then we're also available on any podcast platform that you listen to. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Tuned In, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We are available. You can hear us in your ear everywhere. And we thank you guys for tuning in. And I just like to ask a favor, Cleveland. Let me ask the fans, man, would you guys chime in? Let us know how you're doing. All feedback is good feedback. You know, I can't get better unless you tell me what I need to get better at. So just give us some feedback. Let us know. Um,
And Cameron, just to start the rivalry, man, just let him know that I'm better than he is.
Oh boy.
Just let him know that I have
boy.
greater sports knowledge than he does.
See, I think
we'll just keep a tally. Fans, do that for us.
You just had some fans log off right now when you made that blasphemous comment right there.
Fans, do that for us.
You just have fans log off. And speaking of blasphemy, there's been some blasphemy spoken this week. Not by the words Cleveland just uttered out of his mouth, which are ridiculous. But many of you guys know I'm not a Laker fan by any stretch of the imagination. But I was a number 8 fan. And somebody just compared Devin Booker to number 8 this week. And we're going to get into that, Cleveland. Because I know you're a bandwagon Laker fan. And, I mean, do you even know who number 8 is I'm talking about?
No, I'll make the analogy, Cam, for you, plain and simple. I can't wait to get to that segment of the show. Wow, that sounds exciting. I can't wait to get there.
Yeah, we're gonna have
explain how that whole thing kind of came down.
We're gonna have that conversation. It's stupid. However, it comes down, it's stupid. It doesn't make sense. And we're gonna look at just some bare raw facts that blows that theory out of the axis just immediately. We just immediately blow that out the axis. And it's gonna be a short conversation. So I hopefully you come with your right frame of mind and don't try to bring that nonsense into the conversation. But once again, fans, in this episode, I told you we're going to talk about this number 8 saga. We're going to talk about the round 2 of the playoffs. A lot of guys went fishing unexpectedly. We're in the conference finals now, so we got some conference finals discussions that need to be had. We got some NFL topics, man. Cleveland, opposed to what you and I thought last week. Some changes have been made within the NFL players, and we got some players coming out. So we're going to talk about that and how that impacts the game. Obviously, as we do each and every week, we got this day in history. And then we're going to start our NFL breakdown of the divisions this week. That's going to be this week. And every week from here till the season starts, we're going to give you a divisional breakdown. And so by the time season starts, you guys will have a full understanding of what to look for in the National Football League this season. And so we're going to help educate you. We're not going to get into our fantasy football talk just yet, but we're going to give you NFL content all the way as we do each and every week. But we're going to lead you up until the start of the season with the breakdown of each division one by one. So, Cleveland, you ready?
Ready to go, Big Cam.
All right, man, let's do this. Once again, fans, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Voice of the Fans podcast. It is 144 144 shows that we've done for you guys. So we got them got them in the bag for you. So you can go back and listen to that podcast anytime you want to. Spotify, tune in, our iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Voice of the Fan. You can tell Alexa, pull up Voice of the Fans podcast, and she'll pull up our most recent episode. If you haven't done that yet, go ahead and do that. Alexa, Alexa, please play Voice of the Fans podcast. She pulls it right up for you. It's so that easy for you guys, fans. So go ahead, tune in and enjoy the podcast. And then, as always, give us some feedback. Let us know what you think of the show. We appreciate that. With it being June 23, Cleveland 2021, again, week 144. We do these numbers each and every week. We do these numbers. This week is number 23. This should be a short conversation. When you think of number 23, who comes to your mind first? Who wore it best? That's an easy question. That's an easy question.
You know, it is. It is.
It really is.
The first person that comes to mind.
I'm asking this question. I don't even know why I'm asking this question.
The first person that comes to mind.
It's clearly Michael Jordan, right? Clearly Michael Jordan.
Is the reigning NBA champion, LeBron James. He's the first person that comes to mind.
Oh, he's just nothing.
To wear the number 23 in such a distinguished manner. Now, who wore it best? At present, I think we're still going to say Michael Jordan.
I mean, well, you got half of that right anyway. You got half of that right. Now, Michael Jordan should be the first one that comes to your mind, not the one who tried to duplicate Michael Jordan. And he wore it best. Clearly, he wore it best. I'm glad you admitted to that.
Absolutely.
When you think of the number 44, man, you got that's a broad number, man. You could have said me at Kennedy, 1987, I think it was. But number 44, who wore that best, or who first come to your mind?
You know, who first comes to mind is one of the jerseys that is actually hanging in my closet. At number 44 for the Syracuse Orangemen, Derek Coleman was one of my basketball idols coming up.
Woo.
Big East, really just rugged. Everybody wanted it. Everybody had to prove it. He was just that dude back in the day. So he's the first person to come to mind. Person who wore it best is, Hammer and Hank Aaron, of course. All right.
Hank Aaron, okay. Hank Aaron is up there. The person I had come to my mind at first is Ernie Davis, former Syracuse alum, the running back who was a killer in college and never made that leap to the NFL, largely because he got sick. And then, was a prodigy of Mr. Jim Brown. So Ernie Davis is the first guy to come to my mind when you're thinking of number 44. But Hank Aaron's on the list, and, you got Jim Brown, obviously. David Thompson, who ran around with the Seattle Supersonics, obviously wore the best. Cleveland, but we got some big-time basketball that's happening. As I said, for the last 3 weeks, we discussed the NBA is on fire, right? Excuse me. The NBA has been on fire, man. And it's for the last few weeks, the NBA playoff basketball is fantastic, right? This is when they can go back to that slogan. They didn't have to change that slogan from, was that 1982? The NBA is fantastic. I mean, they could run that. They could run that for the last 10 years, right? This time of year. It
applies. I mean,
it doesn't. It still carries. It still carries weight, right? What do they say? It still lives on to this day. So, we'll start with I had the Nets.
Sweeping through the playoffs without losing a game.
I was this short saying that they were going to sweep through the whole playoffs, but we can't account for injuries, man. Injuries.
Can't.
Injuries
is part of the game.
Injuries is part of the game.
Sure.
Harden gets hurt. Kyrie gets hurt. The Bucks go ahead and dismantle them in the Game 7. I mean, just barely beat them in Game 7. So my Nets is out. Well, what do you think about that? Was that did the Nets lose this, or did the Bucks win this? How do you see this?
I think the Bucks survived it. I don't know necessarily if the Nets lost it. I mean, they were missing Kyrie Irving, and James Harden just was not himself. But at the same time, the Slim Reaper KD came through. A few buckets here or there. They're
Well, really, if he had the
in the
right
next
size,
round of the finals.
if he had the right size shoe on, and because he's wearing a size 16, where he really wears a 15. If he had the right size shoe on, they may have been playing tonight. Because he hit the big bucket. It was a 2-pointer instead of the 3-pointer, and like I said, they may be playing tonight. So, that one could have went either way, and that tells you if they had a healthy Harden or they had a healthy Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, but that's if we don't want to hear about that, Cam. Cam, we don't do that. We don't, Cam. That's what we pride ourselves on this show, is that we don't do that. We don't do all that.
I'm just pointing out.
That's what I'm saying. And that's why I'm saying let's continue with the focus of our show, man. We don't do all that. If.
Well, that's true.
It was hurt.
I'm just pointing out.
They weren't able to win the series. That's unfortunate too. So
yeah, it's unfortunate. So, do you make any changes with the Nets? You run it back with the Nets? Do you run it back with the Nets? Let me ask that one first.
If you can afford it, you absolutely run it back.
I mean, Kyrie's under contract. Harden's under contract. Kyrie and KD just signed there 2 years ago, so we know they're under contract. The one question would be Blake Griffin, who played for, I think, vet minimum this past season. If you're Blake Griffin, do you come back and play for vet minimum again?
Oh man, you sure do. What else going to be doing, man? This is your last best chance to win a championship, for sure.
Okay. Do you bring Joe Harris back?
You bring Joe Harris back for sure. He spreads the court. Absolutely, you bring him back.
But didn't he go like 1 for 11 in the close?
That happens sometimes, man. He's going to be better. There's going to be better players on the court. That's with no Kyrie. Imagine if we had a Kyrie and a Harden and a Durant on the court at the same time. Shots are probably a little easier to handle.
Okay. Back. So the Sixers, 76ers, your 76ers, in fact, lose to the hot Hawks. The Hawks, who's just is flaming right now. What do you see in the Sixers? I mean, obviously, there's going to have to be some changes made. It's been talked about ad nauseum in the last couple of days. Some changes going to have to be made. Was that a better win for the Hawks or a worse loss for the Sixers?
And that's a ridiculous question, man. I don't appreciate you really asking the question in that manner.
I mean,
of course it was a worse loss for the Philadelphia 76ers, man.
I mean,
their second best player was absolutely horrible. He's the worst free throw shooter in the history of playoff basketball.
34%.
That dude did not take a shot
for 3 games
in the fourth quarter for 4 games.
Well, the 4 games.
And the other 3 games, he only took 2 shots.
Right. He took 3 shots in the first 3 games, and
God.
I mean,
turned with a dunk in front of him, and would not turn and dunk the basketball. Come on, man. Come on, man. That's a worse loss for the Philadelphia 76ers.
And it makes Doc look bad, man. It makes Doc look terrible.
Make Doc look bad, or does it make Ben Simmons look bad? It makes the process look bad. Because of the whole process, there's only been one piece that's worth a shit. Excuse my language, voice of the fans. There's only been one piece that's worth a shit.
Well,
Nerlens Noel is not worth a shit.
I mean, depending on your
Okafor,
depending on the makeup of your team,
not worth it.
Depending on the makeup of your team, Nerlens fits in.
He fits in like a top 5 pick.
Like Nerlens he shouldn't have left Dallas. If you want to be honest, he should still be in Dallas.
You've seen the process not working, right?
Well, yeah, the process doesn't work because they only got 2 guys who stood out, and one eliminated himself in this past week. So with that, I say it make Doc look bad because they lost a 18-point lead, and ended up losing that game 3. I think it was game 3 or 4.
Four is bad.
And then they lost a 25-point lead, ended up losing game 5. They won game 6 and then lost game 7. So I say it makes Doc look bad because they just weren't able to close out a couple of those games when they had big leads. And it's kind of similar to what happened with to the Clippers when they lost to Houston, and then when Clippers lost last season, they had big leads up on the Nuggets in all 3 of those games, game 5, 6, and 7, and they end up losing that series. So it's kind of a repetitive thing. It's a chance for people to pile on with Doc, I guess is what I'm saying, and that's why it makes Doc look bad. But I mean, do you package Simmons? What do you do with Simmons? Do you package Simmons? Do you take him to a shrink? What's your move with Simmons?
I don't know if you can keep him, Cam, but you have to trade him to a team that already has shooting because you're trading him somebody that the team that's getting him already knows that he cannot shoot a lick, man. He can do everything else on the court, but cannot shoot the basketball. That's a deterrent. That's a problem in the NBA. That's the ultimate goal is to score buckets, right? And you just can't shoot at all. And you're owed $35 million a year. That's kind of hard.
So I'm interested to get your opinion. And fans, I try to get Woj on the podcast with us.
Get Woj.
I try to get Woj on the podcast to shed some light on this situation. But I asked him these same questions. I just want to get your feedback, please. What do you think about Simmons for Porzingis?
Absolutely not. The Sixers will not do that. Everybody knows that Kristaps is, damaged goods, man. You get second-round picks for him at this point. You don't get Ben Simmons. You don't get all-NBA first-team defense. You don't get you don't get an all-star.
But you just told me you got to get rid of him. You just told me you got to get rid of him. So if I give you Kristaps and Hardaway.
No. Mm-mm.
No, you don't do that. So you rather hold on to him. Interesting.
And then take that deal for sure. Yeah.
I mean, with that deal, you get a shooter, and then you get some.
It's Hardaway a shooter. I didn't see that too much in games 4, 5, 6, and 7 of that Clippers Mavericks series.
I mean, but you saw him for when he put up 20 points, they win the game. That's what you saw. When he put up 20 points, they won each.
Yeah, man. No, I'm not pulling the trigger on that, man. Hey, man. Yeah, no.
Okay. What do you think about sending him to the Northwest for CJ McCollum?
Straight up, man.
Portland would have. I don't know where Simmons' contract is. I think that salary works so.
I don't know, man. No, I mean, no.
Okay?
I think
so. Here's the deal I like best. Here's the deal I bet. Woj didn't like either one of those deals.
No, it's got to be somebody that really can score the basketball. It would have to be like a.
So check it. I got one more for you.
Like a Washington Wizards, man.
Washington Wizards.
Yeah. We're live.
For Bertans, you sending to Washington for Bertans in the same divisions?
Hachimura, we'll give him to him.
You would take
move Ben to the 3, yeah.
You would take Ben Simmons for Hachimura and Bertans?
No, just Hachimura.
Wow. I think if I'm Washington, I do that tomorrow.
If you're Washington, absolutely.
If I'm Washington, I do that tomorrow.
Philly, you guys want to talk? Yeah.
If you want to give me Hachimura for Ben Simmons, wow, I would do that tomorrow. If I'm Washington, I'll do that tomorrow. If I'm Philly, I like Hachimura. So yes, I don't know how Hachimura and Embiid kind of will get along, and I think we still need a backcourt. We need somebody in the backcourt, but that would be an interesting move. Here's another one for you. What do you think about Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier for Ben Simmons? Who says no? Who says no to that one? Charlotte gets some defense. They get a known player. They get defense to go along with the Ball brother.
Who's coming with Terry Rozier?
Gordon Hayward, who's been injured. He kind of an injury prone, but when he's right, he could score.
Oh yeah, Charlotte says no. Charlotte says no.
Charlotte says no. Why would Charlotte say no?
You're giving up too much scoring. You're giving up like 35 points a game. You're getting like 9 points a game in return.
But
you
they don't
be able to. You have to be able to score the basketball.
They have Ball, who Rozier's not playing. Listen. Rozier is not playing because Ball is playing, right? Right? Rozier doesn't play because Ball's kind of won that point guard spot, correct? You'd agree with that?
Okay, I agree with that.
Gordon Hayward hasn't been. He's been injury prone. If I was Philly, I have to think about that a little bit. But for the Hornets, Gordon Hayward, he hasn't been worth the $30 million that they're paying him. He hasn't been worth that.
Just because I love this, and I love the NBA and where it's going and why it's such a soap opera. You know the best place for him to be next year?
Oh boy. Oh my goodness.
You know the best place for him to be?
Where is that?
It's Phoenix.
Why is that?
Because they won't need him to score. They'll need him to do all of the other things. And Chris Paul at $46 million a year. Yeah, man. No.
Chris Paul might not even be there next year.
Exactly that.
So how?
Exactly that.
They don't need him. They don't need a ball. They don't need a ball younger. They don't need a ball.
They become a force to deal with in the Western Conference for 5 to 7 years.
No. The ball, for him to be effective, the ball's going to have to be in his hands. That means you're taking the ball out of Booker's hands to put it in Simmons' hands?
No. You're allowing Ben Simmons to be the facilitator that he is, and you're allowing Devin Booker to work off of the ball. It'll be fantastic.
You just saw,
and he also understands how to play with a big man. So DeAndre Ayton's game just expands. It'll be fantastic.
There we go.
What it is, bro.
There we go.
There it is.
Big CG, what's up, fellas? What's going on?
What's going down, man?
All right, this is how it's gonna go. We having a conversation right now, Ben Simmons. Fans, let me tell you, we got Mr. Clint Lomax joining the Voice of the Fans podcast. Former Garfield Bulldog, two-time champion. How many championships you guys winning?
We won 2, and then senior year we got robbed in the final.
Okay, all right. But this guy been known basketball historian here. Okay, so if you know me and you know I'm passionate about football, he's equally as passionate about basketball. Cleveland. So we got Mr. Clint Lomax on board. Thanks for joining us, big guy.
I appreciate you inviting me, man. It's good to be on. I always wanted to be on the show. When you guys first started, I was trying to find the time to do it, and this is like the perfect time. I got like oodles of. I know a little bit of football too, man. Football is my first sport. You know, Big CB was playing back at the house. He was playing football.
Okay.
I was watching them play, so But even still, though, I've been following football since '78. So that's how old I am.
All right, man. We got football content. I mean, we don't go. A show doesn't go by. That's the genesis of the show is the NFL and the football content. But with the NBA being so on fire right now, we got to talk about what's going on in the NBA. We got to talk about it, and this is a good time to get you on the show because this Laker or anybody but LeBron basher, Laker front runner, like fair weather Laker fan. We got him on the show, and I know he's dripping with the content that he wants to talk about. But let's get into this conversation that we're just having. You joined us while we're talking about the Ben Simmons saga, and you tell me who says no about sending Ben Simmons to Charlotte for Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier. Who says no?
Charlotte says no. You know why? No. You know why Charlotte says no? Because for one, okay, let's say let me set it like this. Let's say Ben Simmons got onto Charlotte with nothing. Let's say for some miraculous reason he got let go and he went to Charlotte. So you have Ball, you have Rozier, and you have Ben Simmons. Right? I agree with my man, Mr. Wonder over here. Ben Simmons ain't going to score for you. Right? So what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up slowing down your team, which is a fast-breaking team. All those young cats run as much as they possibly can. Right? And then you're giving up at the end of every close game, you either have to sit him or you're going to have to deal with him making 2 out of 8 free throws.
Wow.
So how do you make that up? Especially as a coach. Who is their coach? I don't even know if their coach is going to be there anymore, right?
No, he'll be there.
He might be gone.
No, he'll be there.
You're putting the coaches in a bad situation when you put a guy out there that cannot put the ball in the hoop. Now, from what I remember, Ben Simmons, when he first came in, he had the left and right hand hook shot from 4-6 feet. It was almost automatic.
Yeah. Okay.
That's gone now, right? Trading Ben Simmons for anybody right now it would have to be one of those LA Clippers in the back office trying to get Paul George type trade, right? Giving up 3 or 4 first, second round picks, passing who they get. Oh, they gave up the young cat over there that went to OKC.
OKC, yeah.
He's doing work.
Hey, Gilgeous.
Exactly. He's doing work right now. That's the kind of deal it would have to be for Ben Simmons. And one last thing for I know I'm taking up time. I appreciate y'all. This past summer, all those videos of Ben Simmons working.
They were phantom videos. Those are phantom.
I don't care. If there's cats on the court and he's making those shots. I mean, I watched Devin Booker complain about being double teamed in the offseason.
Right.
Come on, man. I mean, hey, if he can make them then, he can make them in the game. All that's right in here. That's in between. That's right in here. Remember Fultz?
Yeah.
Hey.
But so Fultz had to go. Fultz, you see, I saw your post. Fultz had to go to Orlando,
right,
to get out of the spotlight, right, to go hide away. And then all of a sudden, his game his game came back.
That's you said the one word that I keep telling people as a Lakers fan. I keep telling people the spotlight gets brighter for some people. They can't handle it. Some people can handle it. Some people can't, man. They just can't.
Okay.
Right? So, I mean, look. Paul George. We know he's solid. We all know he's solid. I know he can ball.
Okay.
What is going on with this dude in the playoffs, though?
Now, come on. See, I was saving this call.
It's called the Chris Webber syndrome. He's not who we said that he was. We have broached this subject many times, my man, and it's just he doesn't want it when it's time for him to have it, right?
Come on, stop that. You guys are giving people.
That's real.
We're gonna get to PG.
We're not making this up. Just look at the games. Dog, in the fourth quarter, he
had 10 in the fourth quarter. He had 10 in the fourth quarter last night. So he missed free throw. You can't say he don't want it. He just made 30 seconds earlier. He just hit 30 seconds earlier. He just hit clutch free throws 30 seconds earlier. I can't say the man don't want it. He missed free throws.
Hey,
it's a bad look.
It's
a bad look.
What do I always say? What do I always say in those posts? The new superstar narrative That new superstar narrative that you and a bunch of these other cats kept building up because they got tired of seeing that one cat in the finals every single year. That applies to everybody now. Everybody.
So since you want to jump right into this, you bringing it right up. I knew it was dripping. I knew he was salivating to talk about Paul George. I knew he was salivating about that.
I love Paul George though. I mean, he can play the ball. The dude can see 6'8", two-way guard. He one of the best in the league. He got to finish.
Fair enough. So there's some guys who you just described. And I'm gonna compare, just for the sake of argument, Paul George to Tobias Harris. Okay. Both of them skill set is out of this world. Both of them can put it. They can shoot jumpers. They can put it on the floor. They can dunk on you. They can play defense when they need to. One guy does it more consistently than the other guy. Okay, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen Tobias turn that corner, elevate in the playoffs, and take that lick to put him in the superstar. Not a superstar, in the conversation. We've seen that from Paul George. Paul George did that before the injury, right? He did that before the injury.
But Paul George has remained in neutral in the star category. We all want him to emerge and ascend to the superstar category, but he never seems to do so. And when he has opportunities to do so, that would be prime examples of why you're a superstar. He does not take advantage of them, so he remains in the star stratosphere.
So and you're Cleveland, you're right. We can't argue that. But if you look at the last 10 seconds of last night's game, it's hard to ignore that. I understand that, but he's been performing. Kawhi goes down in game 4 of the last series against Utah. Paul George steps up the next night. What he has 39 and 15.
No. You're thinking of Terrence Mann that had 39.
What did Paul George have?
Paul George had the big game in game 5, and then Terrence Mann finished it off in game 6.
But he had 35 and 15 because that stat was only done by KD in this offseason. That stat was only done by KD in this offseason. I remember that. I wrote about that.
Game 5 or game 6?
Game 5. He had 35, 16, and 8, I think it was. I'm not looking at it, but 35, 16, and 8, something somewhere around there. Okay. Yeah. But in other words, he stepped up when he needed to step up. He stepped up. Obviously, the game since was who? Say his name, Cleveland. Game 6 was who?
His name is Terrence Mann.
Okay, we watched it with them where Terrence Mann stepped up and performed. Okay, Paul George, you guys are right that he hasn't ascended to that superstar stratosphere, but he is not on the level of a Tobias Harris, where he's just good talent that hasn't blossomed yet.
He's in the middle. Yeah, he's right in the middle of those two.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely above Tobias Harris. I mean, Tobias Harris has had his hiccups too. I just saw a couple of games this playoffs where he froze up and they lost some games because he made some bad decisions for sure, right? I mean, when you're Tobias Harris, you shouldn't be looking to pass to anybody, especially right? And he was, and that's a bad sign when your stars who aren't really facilitators. Tobias Harris he's not an assist guy; he's a scorer.
Yeah, he's a scorer. He should be on your team to get buckets.
Exactly. When he's 1-on-1, there's no way he should be looking to pass. And there's a number of times in the playoffs he was looking to pass.
Yeah,
you can't. I mean, that's the truth. At least Paul George he's getting the shots up.
And so Cleveland, you and I had this conversation even last season when they faltered in the playoffs last season. He is a number 2. No, I haven't never. And Cleveland to tell you that I have never confused Paul George for being that alpha dog, that leader of your squad. I've told Cleveland he's a number 2. He's a follower, if you will. Great player. He's just going to follow what that main guy does.
Hold on, Kim. That's the question, though. Why, though? Why do you think that? With the talent that he has, why is he a number 2?
Some guys have a personality, some guys don't. Some guys, he's been that.
He's more comfortable deferring when the situation is big.
I'm gonna give you guys a couple examples just from following and covering the Clippers. Post game. Initially, when Paul George joined the team, Paul George was hurt, so the media didn't get a lot of chance to talk to him. But when he would come and be honest. Too honest, I think sometimes he would just come and be too honest with us. When he came and started playing, his first couple games, post game, he come right to the microphone. Post game, in his sweats, whatever he has on, he coming right to the microphone. And Kawhi Leonard had to tell him, dude, we don't go to the mic first. Let the other guys go to the mic first. So Kawhi Leonard will go get his massages, get his workout in, take his time, and make the media wait an hour, sometimes 90 minutes before he would come to the microphone, and then give us his short answers, one 2 word answers, whatever he did. Shortly thereafter, Paul George started doing the same thing. He's a follower. Great player, great person, but he's just a follower. He's not that alpha dog. He's not that leader. That's an example of it. When that was last season. This season, when Rondo, Cleveland, you heard me talk about this already. When Rondo joins the team, the very first time Paul George speaks to the media after Rondo, it was 3 days after Rondo joined the team. They asked him about Rondo, how Rondo's going to fit into this team. Oh, he's a leader. He's a leader of the team. We're going to listen to Rondo. There's going to be no conflicts when he speaks. We listen. He's a champion. Fair enough, he's a champion. I grant why you should listen to what he says, but it's like he threw him the keys before Rondo even got put his seatbelt on. Paul George threw him the keys as quickly as he could. That's not not the alpha dog mentality.
Think about this. Like you're there, night in and night out, and you get the cam responses, you get the, hey, we played hard, we had to follow the game plan and all that stuff, right? So you have a guy that just came off of a championship who is known for being big in playoff moments, and he is named Playoff Rondo. Whether he has one championship or 2 championships, which he just came off of a second one. So you're coming into a locker room loaded with talent, which I've always said they had 9 starters this year, 8 starters last year. But for some reason they couldn't get over the hump. Now you have this guy coming in with the championship. He's been to 3 finals, or was it 3 finals? I think, 3 finals.
3.
Right. He had good success some success with Anthony Davis, right? When people didn't think they were supposed to do anything.
Chicago.
Well, exactly. In Chicago, he did work in Chicago. So he comes into the locker room. How is Paul George with his track record? And trust me, NBA players look at that. That. They talk about that all the time, about how other cats don't perform and things like that. So what is Paul George going to look like saying, all right, me and you, we gonna run this. Kawhi's just going to play by example. Me and you, we're going to be on the team. That don't sound right at all. If I was Rondo, I couldn't take him serious.
Clint, that doesn't happen in 3 days, bro. in 3 days, that's the point you're making. What you're saying is correct. The levity that he comes in and the cachet that he comes into the locker room with is clearly understood. Nobody can dispute that. But within 3 days, bro, you don't already threw him the keys in the car.
And what's the other part of that component, Cam? Is that Paul George is not 22 years old? He's like 30 years old. So it's like, why are you all of a sudden turning over leadership responsibilities after you've been in the league for this long? You really shouldn't be doing that, right?
Yes.
You shouldn't really be deferring to someone else, even if they've won championships. I mean, you've been in the league a little bit. You've seen a few things, man. You've been a part of some championship runs, man. And more importantly, he's the guy just for shits and giggles for no reason.
More importantly, we've been through the storm last year, the worst storm that any of them been through. We went through last year.
Hold on, wait. Who's we? Who does we you talking about?
I'm just saying, if I'm Paul, if I'm Paul George, and I'm in this situation that he's in, we went through the worst storm that the team has gone through when they failed in the bubble. We should have a chip on our shoulder right now that we're going to focus on this. And then you come and join us. That's great that you're here to join us. But this is something that we need to get through. I can't throw you the keys in 3 days when you don't even know the center of the car, talking about, okay, it's your car, you're the leader, you're the man, blah, blah, blah. I personally cannot do that. What you bring to the table now, we're gonna have the conversation, man. What did you see in this situation? What did you see in that situation? Tell me, what do you think about this squad? What do you think about this squad, this player? We're gonna have those conversations, yes. But I can't throw you the keys and say, like, now I'm clearly taking the back seat because you have you've done what you've done. You haven't done that here. We don't know if you're still on that level. You know what I'm saying? That's what, dude. So
you know who that is? You know who you're talking about right now? You know who the exact player you're talking about right now?
Who?
Russell Westbrook. That's the dude. He says stuff like that. He'll do stuff like that. He doesn't care whose team he's on. It doesn't matter whose team he's on. He's the alpha, no matter what happens. And you can ask KD about that, because for some reason, with their loaded squads, it didn't happen in OKC when it should have.
Didn't understand that he should defer to someone that's 6'11" with an unstoppable shot at all times.
Okay, so okay,
yeah,
okay. Both of you guys have some truth in what you're saying, but at the same time, should KD be more hungry in that situation? Like KD did a lot of standing at the elbow, waiting on a pass instead of going to take the rock.
Hold on,
and saying, let me get in court.
Hey, hold on, Mr. Wonder. Hold on just a second. Cam, I'm going to hit you with this real quick, and this is going to make so much sense to you. And I said this right the year after they went to the finals against the Miami Heat.
13.
There is not one game ever that KD and Westbrook are playing in the same game that Westbrook should ever have more shot attempts than KD, ever. It should never happen. It should never happen. And we know that. Regardless of where KD's hanging out, he's got to get the ball. He has to get those shots. It doesn't matter if Westbrook has a massive mismatch. He always has a mismatch in his mind, right? KD has to shoot the ball, right?
Oh my God.
I'm just saying, dog. I'm just saying.
Everybody say that. He is always the physical mismatch on the court against anybody who's guarding him. That does not mean he should be taking the shot. Exactly. Doesn't mean his shot is better than Kevin Durant's shot.
It's hard to argue that, but at the same time, KD needs to be a little bit more aggressive. I was thinking back then, but he's still the same player. He's still that same player where he's averaging. He was more aggressive, obviously, in his next playoff when the players were injured, Kyrie and Harden. But he's still been that efficient. That was his advantage. He's just so efficient. If he gets 15 shots, he's going to get 35 points on those 15 shots because he's that efficient. Where Russell is the opposite of that. But you're right. That's more what Russell was saying. But let's looking back at last night. Did those missed free throws cost him the game last night?
Of course they did. Right? I mean, I coach with a coach. Like I'm up here in Canada, and I when I first moved up here, I coached with a team that's kind of like a Division II, Division III type team. What would be in the States? We had an undefeated season. We went 32-0 or some 31-0. I can't remember. But one thing about that season is that knowing when, because we had a bunch of albums. Like, I mean, we had a ton of albums. My job, actually, to be honest with you, was we had like 3 assistant coaches. My job was to basically, because I had a good rapport with all the players, just because, you know, I had an undefeated season in college, right? So I'm at the end of the bench making sure these cats that are not getting minutes, hey, you know what? You got to wait your turn. Find out, look it on the floor and see what you need to do, right? When you get your chance, you do it to the best of your ability, right? Make sure that you're always ready. No matter what happens, you're always ready. And when you are hot, because we did have guys, we had like 8 different leading scorers on at any given point in the season. That's how many alphas we had, right? So those I'm losing my my train of thought.
You're talking about the alphas kind of keeping them aligned and
Right.
how they work towards the
Right. I
win.
mean, even when like for KD, we know he knows, everybody knows he can get any shot that he wants. The issue with KD in OKC, he was the same guy in OKC that he wasn't with the Warriors. He's the same guy with the Warriors that he is with Brooklyn right now. You know what the difference is from OKC, what Golden State and Brooklyn versus OKC? Curry was so unselfish. He's one of the dudes. He just wanted to win. Didn't matter how he won. If KD needed to take those shots, if KD needed to get the MVPs of each one of those finals wins, he may not have been super happy with it, but he wanted to win.
He got the W.
Exactly. And then with Harden, we was all worried about Harden, Harden's gonna dribble 17 times a possession, and Kyrie's gonna dribble another 17 times. Nobody really realized that when Harden played with KD before in OKC, when he came off the bench or when he finished games, because Harden finished games with KD and Westbrook.
Yes.
Harden was the facilitator.
Yes.
Right?
People don't recognize that. Yeah. People don't recognize that.
Yeah, I know. A bunch of people don't even remember that.
Yeah.
People don't understand. Cam, I'm trying to tell you one thing about me. I mean, I'm totally in coach mode now. Even though I don't coach a whole lot anymore, I kind of do. I do one-on-ones, but I still watch full games of playoff games. Like today, let me see. I watched part of the Portland Trailblazer OKC what was it, game 5, I think, or game 4, I think, just to go back, and because I saw something in the Facebook groups and I had to just see for myself. So I just went back and I watched the plays and I just dissected. Right there, you can see KD is an alpha to the point where if you allow him to lead, he'll lead. Right? Other than that, he won't. So it's up to you. If you really want to win and get the most out of KD, you have to be that guy to say, okay, I need to know that KD needs to shoot more than I do. Not only is he more efficient than I am mostly, and even with Curry, we all know Curry could score. KD was more efficient. He always had the mismatches, and you got to recognize that. Even as an alpha, you can recognize that. Paul George is a little bit different.
So check this. Not to cut you off. This is what KD. This is KD's shots. His average shots per year, field goal attempts per year. And I'm gonna give you this basketball reference. 2009, he was over 20. He was over 20 only one other time, and that was 2013 or 14. Every other year, for a career, he's averaging right at 17 or 18 shots a game for his career.
Right.
And that was 18 in Golden State one time. It was 16, 18, and 17. So what I said 15 shots earlier. It's a couple more shots than that. But only 2 times in his career has he averaged more than 20 shots. That tell you his unselfishness right there, and his desire just to be more efficient than a volume shooting. So go back to what you're saying about playing with Curry.
So we're playing with Curry, right? So I mean, even with he's not gonna get 20 shots a game with Curry and Clay on the same team.
Right.
Right. However, Curry is. I mean, there was games where Curry would actually have KD and Clay shoot more than he did. Right. Westbrook's not gonna do that.
Yeah,
we know that. We know that. Kyrie may share some shots. He loves to put up shots. I mean, it's just what it is.
Without question.
But with Harden, he's gonna get those. He recognizes that he's gonna get those shots. However, just think if he played with Westbrook for all of his 11, 12, 13 seasons in the league, and he never said, "Hey, I need to shoot more than you. You got to get me the ball." Right? The only person he actually did that to was who? Draymond Green.
Well, yeah, and then they was out. He was out the next year. Well,
Right.
he didn't need Draymond didn't need to take shots over him. If he was already going to be number 3, he didn't need Draymond taking.
Why are you doing
to
that with Draymond though, and not Westbrook?
But to your point, Clint, you know what else is going on is like it was not a power struggle because Curry and Clay had already won it, and he was a complimentary piece coming off of that. Whereas with Russ and KD going at it, they never got over that hump. So they were never, at least Russ wasn't convinced that KD was the answer to getting over the hump. Which he should have been convinced because it was KD, but he never ever was. So whenever it came down to when it comes time to get down, he would never defer because he didn't believe in him in the way that he should have.
Here's where I think, and honestly, I'm probably just starting stuff here right now, but I'm just going to put it out there. I think it was Game 3. It's either Game 3 or Game 4 of the 2012 final. Westbrook had 42. From that point forward, go back and look at his shot attempts and his shot selection as far as where he took his shots and how many shots he took after that. It did not go down. It absolutely increased.
Right? Yeah. He felt empowered. Yes, that's that confidence that you speak of. That's that confidence that some players don't have, and that confidence in them to allow them to ascend to that next level. That some players just.
Well, I'm gonna mess you up a little bit with this. I'm gonna mess you up with this. We'll stay with that example, right? So Paul George shoots a lot of shots. And there's a lot of games where he shoots more than Kawhi. So why can't Paul George say, "Hey, I'll be the guy. Let me do it. I'll do it." How come he can't do that? Why does he have to wait for Kawhi to go? What did he go for that in that one 14 for 14 in the fourth quarter against Dallas? I can't remember what game that was. Whatever that was, that's bananas. Right? That's bananas. But why does Paul George have to wait for that? It always seems like he's waiting. He's always waiting for that other guy to go and get it done when he's the guy that's supposed to get it done. Kawhi's not there. And that's what brings me back to last night. Kawhi, I mean, and this is, I mean, you know what? For the we people, for the Clippers fans, for the we people, this is your downfall. You see Kawhi do something that I can't remember the last time I saw something. I don't even know if I can't remember. I've never seen Jordan do that. I've never seen Jordan do that in a fourth quarter of a playoff game. Never. I never have. Now we come to Paul George, 10 points in the fourth quarter, balling. Game's in hand. Game is in hand. All he needs, even if he makes one of those free throws, they got. Hold on just a second. Yeah, even if they make one of those free throws, they still have a psychological edge. Even if everything's relative, they get the tip, they go into overtime, whatever. You have to finish those shots. That's here.
Yeah.
Kawhi made his free throws.
Yeah.
He's got to make his.
So what happens to the best of a Kawhi missed it to give LeBron the championship from San Antonio?
Well,
so it happens to the best.
Ginobili, yeah.
It happens. It happens to the best of them. But there was still the reason I asked that question. Obviously, that was 8 seconds in the game he missed it. Mm-hmm. But then they play solid defense, and then they pass it around. And they get the air ball. Was it the air ball? Did it hit the backboard or whatever? The jumper that missed from the Suns. The jumper that missed. Mm-hmm. It looked like Ayton tipped it out of bounds, but they give the ball. They give the ball to Phoenix, okay, and then they bring in. I didn't like Cousins being in that spot where he's defending the pass because Cousins wasn't active enough. He didn't when he just came kind of and stood there, put his hands up. We need a big 7-footer, but he wasn't jumping around. He wasn't trying to blur the vision. He just stood there with his hands up and clearly gave Crowder kind of a free look to the rim. I mean, he wasn't active in that situation.
You No, yeah, I mean, but in those situations, like those late game situations, I've been in those, a lot of those. I'm not on the NBA level, but like even in semi-pro, I've been in those situations where even if you have a 7-footer on the bench and you need to bring him in to like disrupt and maybe get hands in the passing lane and stuff like that, it's not in that situation. They needed someone because what was happening at the end of the game, the referee started holding their whistle.
Wow.
So you need somebody in here that's going to be able to either fight off a screen, bump somebody on a screen. Boogie Cousins is going to do that no matter what, whether he gets, his 6th foul in 12 seconds or not. He's going to do that, right? The main thing is making sure that, and he has playoff experience, right? You want him in the game. Who else are you going to put in? You're going to put in Zubak. You can't put in Zubak in that.
Zubak was defending Ayton at the time. He was defending Ayton.
Oh, he was already in.
He was already in. What I'm saying is that they brought Cousins in just to defend Crowder from making a pass, making an easy pass.
I mean, I see what you're saying. Right.
And he wasn't jumping. He wasn't kind of waving his hand. He stood there literally with his hands up. He wasn't waving, trying to distort the vision or anything. He allowed him a free shot. And so obviously the free throws hurt. The reason I'm just asking that question.
I get that though. I get what you're saying. I mean, there's a lot just in that play besides the 17, reviews that they did when Cats ran out of timeouts and all that. That's another story altogether.
I thought the refs were terrible last night.
Oh my God!
From the first whistle,
I don't like doing the ref thing either. I mean, whatever you play through, the refs are going to call what they call, but they got to be consistent.
Everybody deals with it, but I thought the refs were just terrible in that game.
I mean, you can't even when I see people saying, "Oh, Ayton was grabbing on what's his name, man. That should have been a foul." No, not really. No, I mean that's what it is. That's what it is. I mean, if you go back to
late game situation,
the Boston and Lakers series where James Worthy has a handful of Bird's jersey up to his neck before the play starts, and the refs are looking at it and they're like, okay, that's about normal. And then Bird shakes loose and he still shakes loose and gets off for that shot that just hit that was just off.
Yeah,
that could have won the game, right? That's just what it is, man. I mean, it's we all like us being old school. We want to see, hey, stop calling all this stuff, man.
Let the players
stop calling all this stuff, right? I don't know if you guys went over the game tonight already. I think you guys did, but I mean, I'm looking at that game. I mean, Trey's he's growing on me a little bit. I like his edge. I like his game, things like that. But guess what? They don't let anybody touch him more than like this.
Well, I mean, yes, he's a
guard. You can't bump that dude. You can't even breathe on him hard, and they're calling stuff for him.
And he's already getting the foul where he slows down or jumps into the defender. He's already getting no fouls. That's kind of crazy.
In the playoffs, that's not supposed to be not called as much as they're calling it right now. Like honestly, I mean, I think that's a little bit much. But in the Phoenix game, where you got Devin Booker setting a moving screen, which it is what it is. You're not going to call that in that situation,
at
right?
That moment, right?
Right. I mean, and even with Cousins guarding the ball and not really waving, and I mean, even if he was waving, that's a pass that he couldn't get to anyway. I mean, he just can't. I mean, and Ayton is such an athlete. It didn't matter where you're going to throw it near the rim. He's going to go get it.
I like Phoenix. I like the tools that Phoenix has, and then I like Monty Williams as a person, as a head coach. I think he's a great person. I just thought that there were some advantages that the Clippers had in that game that obviously they didn't take advantage of. But obviously they let one slip by, and we're gonna see what happens tomorrow. I'll say this right now in front of the world. I got the Clippers big tomorrow night. I got the Clippers big tomorrow night.
Cam, don't do that. Don't do that, Cameron.
They lost
in front of all these people. Don't do that like that.
Listen, they lost the first game by 6 points.
Cameron Buford, don't do that.
They lost. The
That's
game. That's
not going to happen.
They lost the game 1 by 6 points. They lost game 2 by 1 point. As fluky as it was, all the things that happened. Tomorrow night they come home. They're playing in front of their home crowd for the first time. I got the Clippers big tomorrow night.
Okay, what do you hear though? What do you hear about Game 3 and the availability of Chris Paul? Is he going to be back?
All that I hear, Chris Paul is going to be. He's scheduled to be playing tomorrow.
Okay.
Chris Paul's scheduled.
The Clippers are
Kawhi Leonard scheduled to be playing tomorrow.
Oh no, Kawhi may not. Kawhi may not come back till the finals.
So I'm sorry. So the Phoenix Suns are adding Chris Paul with an already, the biggest problem of the playoffs has been that campaign season.
Can Chris Paul play better than that? Can Chris Paul play better than campaign?
He don't have to play better than campaign.
No, he can't play better than campaign. Because with Chris Paul, they're expecting and they're guarding for it. With Cameron Payne, it's just like, oh my God, did he do that again? Like, my God, why does this guy keep doing this?
That's exactly my point. Now, if campaign comes off the bench and gives them 25 and 10, that's incredible. But
Chris Paul started, you're saying that the Phoenix Suns are adding Chris Paul, and the Clippers aren't adding anything. Yep. So why would they win that game?
They're at home. They're at home. Number one,
because they're at home.
That's number one. Number two, they lost these games. They lost game 1 by 6 points.
But the team they lost to is adding an all-star.
That was a winnable game. You just answered my question. Can Chris Paul?
You're not answering my question. The other team got better, and your team didn't get any better.
Campaign.
So why would the team that didn't get any better win? And they haven't won this entire time.
Campaign played like an all-star the last 2 games. He's
been playing like that the whole playoffs. We've been saying the whole show. Haven't we been saying that since I said he's the most annoying player in the playoffs? This will not go away.
You already answered my question. Chris Paul can't play. Chris Paul's great. Don't get me wrong. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying Campaign is better than Chris Paul. But Chris Paul cannot play better than what Campaign's already been bringing to that squad. So tomorrow he'll go for what?
So what you're saying is it's not going to be that much of an improvement?
15. He'll go for 25 and 15 versus Campaign's 29 and 9.
Well,
I mean,
think of it this way, Cam. Think of it this way. So with Chris Paul coming back, what happens is Campaign goes back to the bench. Chris Paul, all he really has to do is keep his turnovers low, which he has. Get everybody involved.
Campaign didn't have none yesterday.
No, I know. I get it. I'm gonna get to that. Make sure that the people that are hitting shots get their open shots, which he runs around until he finds somebody that he's hot, give him the ball. Campaign only has to come off the bench and outperform Terrence Mann and Kennard. That's all he has to do. And Phoenix can beat they can beat the Clippers by about 7 to 8 points. That's all he has to do. All he has to do is outperform his matchup in the second unit.
In the second unit. So right. Chris Paul comes in the game, and I mean Ty Lue's smarter than me. I'll give him all the credit. I just the resiliency of this team has shown over coming back against Dallas 2-0. Coming back against Utah 2-0. I expect a big game out of them tomorrow. Whether they win the series or not is something different, but I expect a big game out of them tomorrow. When Chris Paul comes on the floor, Rondo's coming on the floor immediately. And that's something they don't like each other. They agitate each other.
I like that matchup too.
And that's going to be something that Rondo may not win the advantage there over the course of the game, but he'll certainly the energy, the antagonistic fervor that he comes with will propel the Clippers. I got the Clippers big tomorrow. Let's move on. I got some other topics I want to cover with Clint before he closes down on me.
Let's do it.
Earlier this week, it was said that Devin Booker is the next Kobe Bryant.
Oh man, what?
That's how I feel. I'm not. I started the show by saying fans know I'm not even a Laker fan, but I was a number 8 fan. A number 8 fan. I was. I tell you real quickly, the reason I enjoyed watching number 8, not being a Laker fan, is after they won the first championship, he put on 20 pounds of muscle and came back and was ready better for the next season. After their number 2 championship, he came back for the number 3. He came back and worked on his 3-pointer. So now he's bigger, bulkier, and now he has the 3-pointer. Number 8 was freaking unbelievable. That's not Devin Booker. Devin Booker is not there yet. Number 8 was in the NBA All-Star game at 19. Devin Booker was just graduating, or no, he didn't even graduate. He was just at University of Kentucky. Okay, not in the league. It took him 4 years to make it into an All-Star game. There's no comparison there. Number 8, his second year, was it rookie? I think was it rookie or second year that he won the dunk contest. Like Devin Booker doesn't have that athleticism.
It might have been his rookie. I'm not sure.
I think it was his. I think it was his.
I think you're right. I think it was his rookie.
It was a rookie year.
6, I think.
Devin Booker doesn't have that athleticism. So why somebody would come on a prominent figure would come on national TV and make that proclamation was beyond me. Help me, guys, and tell me where I'm wrong.
Clevie, you want to go first?
Let me go first, Clint. D-Book is not the second coming of Kobe Bryant, but he is the last Jedi. He is a prodigy of Kobe. He is someone that Kobe took under his wing and was trying to whisper in his ear a little bit more than he whispered in the other guy's ear. And people noticed, like, what makes that dude so special? I kind of don't really see it, and I never really saw it until this year. To be perfectly honest with you, I saw flashes of brilliance, but then I saw him really like, nah, man, you guys let me in this now. And now you let me in with CP3, and campaign doesn't seem to want to let me down too much, and Jay Crowder is going to give me some timely shots, and DeAndre Ayton is starting to run into himself and playing within himself and within the system, and I'll just take this opportunity to introduce myself to the world. So from that perspective, he's done that, and he is my pick to get to the NBA Finals and represent the Western Conference this year. Does that make him Kobe? Absolutely not. Nobody is Kobe because Kobe is following in the footsteps of Michael. Nobody is absolutely Michael because it's a whole other thing to be driven to that extreme, to that extent, and he doesn't have that. And to put that type of burden on him is unfair to him. However, to say that he is not that dude because he is not Kobe is also unfair to him, especially considering that Kobe saw enough in him to pull him aside and be like, hey, man, let me show you a few things the way Mike showed me a few things. Mm-hmm. So that in and of itself, let's see what he can do with it. I think he can take it to the NBA Finals. What happens from there, we'll see. But no, he's not Kobe. But don't knock him because he's not Kobe. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I'm not knocking the guy. He has game. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of cats have game. He's not number 8. He's not number 8. Hell, he's not number 24. So I'm surprised that somebody. We all know who said it, but I'm surprised dude would come on national TV and say and make that proclamation. It's baffling to me. Go ahead.
Okay, we know Magic. Come on, man. We know Magic. Magic says a lot of. Magic is he's a man of the people.
Well, right. Magic is that uncle who
you'll
hear everything. But it wasn't Magic who said that, though. It wasn't Magic who said it.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm not even gonna talk about him right now. That'll take him another half hour. I don't want to waste everybody's life breathing that nonsense. He's irritating me more and more every day right now. So I'm gonna leave him out of this equation. But I'm gonna give you a little brief history that I haven't told most people. I think Otis knows, our homeboy Otis. Otis knows this. Kobe Bryant and I as a fan of the game, we were to put it as light as possible. I had my differences with Kobe Bryant because I felt that he could have had a lot more championships with Shaq. Right, so I was a Shaq guy. Yeah. Right, I mean, I was a Shaq guy. The young kid comes up, everybody's comparing him to Michael, and how many people have they compared to Michael before? Right. I mean, and how many careers were just busted because they did compare? Oh, he's the next Michael Jordan.
Sure.
Harold Miner is one of the ones that stands out to me because I remember playing him.
LeBradford Smith.
LeBradford Smith. I mean, Jerry Stackhouse had a long career, but come on, man, right? I mean, that's what we're talking about. Now, Kobe in itself, even as indifferent as I was to him, guess what? I never missed any of his games. And I guarantee you, every shot that he took, even after Shaq left, I always thought they were going in. That's the kind of player he was. The only other person that I thought about that at that time, that, you know, every shot he took, I just knew it was going in, Michael Jordan, right? Those are the only two guys where I would watch their games and I'm like, oh yeah, dude, that's it. Oh, there's three people guarding him. He's gonna make that, right? That's how I felt. Devin Booker. Where do I want to start with this guy? I don't want to tear the young guy down too much because, I mean, I agree. I mean, he is that guy. Like, he's proven it this year. And I told all these all these bubble doubters that the bubble did make a difference because guess what? I mean, we all know who won the championship, but guess who went undefeated in the bubble? Mm-hmm. The Suns.
I mentioned that.
The Phoenix Suns went undefeated in the bubble, right? And guess who was leading that? And guess who? Every single game he was giving cats the business was Devin Booker. And I was like, all right, cool. So now he gets a facilitator in Chris Paul to say, okay, young fella, you just missing a few things here and there. This is how you handle this. This is how you handle this. And now look at it, right? He's on the verge of getting to the finals. And I say that with the most respect that I can for him because I see the work he's put in, right? I watched him at Kentucky when they had the white and blue squad. And he was on the second squad coming in and, like, they were loaded. Like, you know, that Kentucky squad was loaded. So and I'm thinking, okay, he's just a shooter. But he's more than that. He is a scorer. He can facilitate when he needs to. The defense, I don't know where people are seeing all this defense that he plays. I haven't seen it yet. However, and that's another part of it. He's 6'4". He is not 6'6". He is not 6'6". Right. So and if you don't think that doesn't make a difference when you're playing, ask Drew Holiday when he was trying to guard Kevin Durant if all of his 6'2" was making a difference, right? Those inches make a difference between being all NBA defensive player and just being a good team defensive player, right? But Devin Booker, from what he has as far as athletically, he's nowhere near Kobe Bryant. Like, I can say that with confidence. I think we all know Kobe Bryant's metrics as far as like his vertical leap and his arm reach and his athleticism to be able to twist and turn and do all these things. Devin Booker is not that guy, and he will never be that guy. Now, when you put that on him, like, well, you're the next coming to Kobe Bryant, that is a ploy by that guy that I'm not going to say his name right now. It's how he breaks down different players. He did something similar to Stephon Marbury before and during he was in New York. He did the same thing to Iverson to the point where Iverson wanted to kill that dude.
Wanted to check him. Yeah, had to go check him on that. Yeah.
You can't put that type of pressure on people where it doesn't fit. Devin Booker will never be Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
He may get close to some of his accolades. He'll never be Kobe Bryant. So putting that on him, you know what? You're setting him up for failure. And hopefully, because he's so
unrealistic expectation.
Right. And you know Devin Booker, his skin is really thin too. And that's not good because we all know the guy that has like Twitter burner accounts, capping on teenagers.
Right. My guy,
he has thin skin.
How many times have we talked about this?
Right?
Yes.
He's not KD either. He'll never be KD. If you can't be KD, you're not gonna be Kobe. You're not.
Yeah.
Right. And people are gonna look at this and they're gonna think they're in the Twilight Zone because it's rare that I defend Kobe as much as I'm defending right now. But I know how great he is. I love greatness.
Yeah,
no matter how.
Well, you can't. You don't even have to look at it that way. That's just being a basketball fan looking at basketball. It just bothered me. It irked me when I heard that statement. I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? But we got a question here from somebody listening in. And the first comment says, let's be real, Trae Young's prime is better than Curry's prime. Curry in his prime.
Trae in his prime?
I'm just telling you what one of the listeners are saying, Clint. I'm just reading. I'm just being the vessel right now.
So just to shoot that down, I don't think that Trae Young is in the unanimous MVP conversation.
No. Come on now.
So
no.
So that would be a no.
All right. and then Clint, and then this. I just want to throw it out there. He said he put it on there a couple times. He really wanted to get my attention with that. I thought I'd throw it out to the people. And Clint, you brought up something. When you start talking about Devin Booker and the Kobe Bryant conversation. And I just want to ask your opinion on this. So Cleveland, I don't think we've had this discussion actually. But do you feel we all remember when Jordan left, when Jordan retired, at least I do. When Jordan retired in what was that, 95, 96? 95,
98 the first time.
The first time or the second time?
Well, the first time he retired.
First time was after the 93 championship. Somewhere in the
94, 95, because Houston won those championships. Yeah. I personally thought there was a little void there. Watching basketball wasn't quite the same. When he came back, and I wasn't really a Jordan fan. Then, to be honest with you, I wasn't a Chicago fan. I'm not a big market, big city fan. So I didn't care what those other guys were doing. But when he came back, I acknowledged and appreciated his game much more than I did his career up until his first retirement. Like there's things I remember about his return and how he was killing the league, and he was coming back to make notice. I'm back. I'm still the best, and here's why I'm the best. He was showing that. But then when he retired, before he came back to play for Washington, which it counts, but he wasn't the same guy we all know when he came back and played for Washington. There was a void in the game. I thought the game wasn't quite the same as what it was when he was at his prime before 93, and then when he came back for those 3 years to win the three-peat. And my question to you guys is, obviously there have been some players who kind of stepped up and carried the NBA to this point to where we are today. But when LeBron retires, do you anticipate there being a void in the game, similar to what there was in that 94, 95 season? Either one of you guys can answer.
The void won't be similar in the respect that when Jordan retired that first time, he was much younger. So when he came back the second time, it was a little bit of a different feeling. And I always loved the fact that Shaq and Penny did not let Jordan just walk back on the court like, I'm back here. Right. I'm about to step in. Oh, I'm Mike. And they're like, oh, dude, I'm in my second year. I'm in my third year. Oh, right, you're just going to roll off the couch and get with Shaq and Penny? No,
it ain't what you thought it is.
They weren't having it. Like, okay. So, no, you're not Superman. You're a great player, and we respect that, but respect the game as well and respect who we are. When LeBron leaves, there will be a void, but it will be a void not in talent necessarily, because there are players that, have a certain skill set that can not really replicate what LeBron is doing, but, they're formidable in what it is that they're able to do. But just in the responsibility that they will take for the league and for their team, for that matter, I don't think it'll be the same thing. So I think you'll see a lot more of, those microwave dynasties, a couple 2-3 years, those guys are really dope, and then they're going to leave, but there's really no focal point to it. So I think there will be a void. Who's going to fill it? That's kind of hard to say.
Sure. And Mr. All Things LeBron, what's your thoughts?
Oh yeah, you already. Yeah, I got the Irish shirt. You already know. So the way the NBA is set up today, and it has been for a while, it's built for a lot of scoring. Not as much roughhousing, right? More freedom of movement. You are having a number of players that are having phenomenal, not just playoff games, but I'm talking about like regular season games where cats are averaging, well, they'll come up with a 30 or 35 point triple double. And some people, it's not even in their chemistry to do it. A lot of people love the highlights, right? I mean, all the young people that I don't even know if they watch games after they've watched the game before, but they'll watch the highlights and they'll take little clips and this is what they think is great.
Forms their opinion.
Right, exactly. So I mean, with when LeBron retires, because LeBron, I mean, let's be honest. LeBron's never been the best shooter. He's never been the best shooter. He's never been the best free throw shooter. He's never been the best at, dribbling, right? I mean, I know a lot of people are going to be happy to not see him maybe take some contact and sit on the floor a little bit longer than he should, right? Nobody's really going to miss that. I know you're not going to miss that.
In other words, flopping. LeBron
flopping. Whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it. But for the most part, there's a lot of guys. Like, I mean, I'm like, listen to this list of young people. LeBron's going to retire probably the next couple years, or when his son sells it before the draft. Ja Morant, Trae Young, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell. Right. I mean, I can go down the list of all these young guys that are doing big things right now.
Talent. That's talent.
I mean, Luka. I mean, let's not forget about Luka. I mean, the leagues. We talk about the mama mentality. We talk about Devin Booker. We left out Jason Tatum. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the league's fine. The league's gonna be okay when he goes. The only problem that you're gonna have is there's not many people that you're going to see have the combination of that physical strength and ability and tied in with a little bit of talent and skill here and there, but also being in the most clutch and pressure packed situations year in and year out. Right. It's just like Mr. Wonder said, you're going to have like the Golden State Warrior type franchises where, for 2, 3, maybe 4 years, they're going to be spectacular. And then all of a sudden either injuries hit or cats leave on free agency. That's the way the league's going. And for all those people that keep saying that all the numbers are down, the TV numbers are down, of course. They're down. However, what people aren't realizing is that the different media that people watch the NBA on globally, worldwide, from where you can track them, they're through the roof. And this is when LeBron was hurt, 2019, and then he was hurt. Kawhi was hurt. Kawhi, he's always resting a little bit. KD was hurt. Kyrie got hurt in the middle of the season, and the ratings were still up because you still had Luka, you still had Trae, you still had Jason Tatum. All these young talented guys are going to just they're going to lift. They're still going to lift the NBA. It's just that who is going to be that guy that's going to be able to be in the spotlight year in and year out, even if they don't make the finals, but you're in like the conference finals every year, 3 times in a row. Who is that going to be?
Right. That's what they're going to be missing.
And that's the to be determined factor, because no one has stepped up as the heir apparent to this point. And now you've seen these two cats disrupt the natural order of things, because Devin and Trae have now moved above, D. Lillard and Tatum. Like, you guys haven't played for a championship. I don't want to hear from you until you play for a championship. You can't usurp me, and I'm going to play for some more. So now the order is all kind of messed up, and it has to the league has to realign itself, right?
Well, you
As
just
it always does. And
Trailblazer fans, boy, woo, they are mad at
yeah.
you.
they're be mad at D Book. So be mad
Yeah,
He's the one that did this. I was pulling for Logo Lillard, but it didn't happen like that, right?
Well, I agree.
All right, guys. So this has been great conversation, Clint. We got NFL topics next. So we do have to take a break here, but we got NFL topics next. If you want to join us, man, we'd love to have you. Or if if you got a wife duty calls, man, you let us know. What's your choosing?
I'm good, man.
Okay.
Whatever.
Well, let's take a little break here. When we come back, fans, we're gonna talk about the NFL's got somebody coming out. It was totally opposed to what Cleveland and I said last week. So we got to talk about that. We're going to ask them, which veterans are you looking to sign? Would you want on your team? Got a number of veterans that haven't re-signed that's out there. And then we're going to get into our NFL divisional predictions. So let's take a little break right here, fans. And when we come back, we got the NFL topic for you guys. All right, what's good, fans? This week 144, Voice of the Fans podcast, we got special guest Clint Lomax in the house. He's joining Cleveland and I. And again, we got heat for you guys every week. We got heat. This week 144, Clinton. Week 144 that we've been doing this on this forum. We're now on. The fans can see us on HMB Media TV. That'll be this show premiere every Thursday afternoon. As we're live on Voice of the Fans on YouTube, and this will be a podcast, so you guys can hear us again, fans. iHeartRadio, tuned in, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Again, Cleveland, ask Alexa. Just say Alexa, Voice of the Fans podcast. Boom, there you go. She's on it. So it's that easy nowadays.
That's right in.
So.
Beautiful.
Last week we talked about the NFL announcing that they're ready for openly gay players to come out, and I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't think the NFL, the machismo that bounces around the NFL, would allow for an active player to come out with their being openly gay. However, Raiders Carl Nesbitt and Nassib, he came out. He says, I'm ready. Proud of this guy. I mean, it's kudos to him. Kudos to the Raiders for accepting him as they have. Kudos for the league. I mean, it's obviously with the Me Too movement and Black Lives Matter movement, all of this stuff kind of gets lumped in together. I don't think it really should, but it has happened that way. So kudos for everybody for accepting this as they have. Not that I have a problem with what you do in your bedroom. To each his own. I just was surprised that the NFL players have been ready to do this, and sure enough, it has happened. What you guys' thoughts on this? Nassib coming out and over under on players coming out. Let's say by the time the season starts. So that gives us another, say, 6-7 weeks for this to happen again. Or excuse me, not take this back. That's before preseason. So it gives us about 10 weeks before the season starts for another player to come out. The over-under is 2, and I'm going with the under.
Well, Cam, I was extremely surprised as we addressed on the show before. I thought that the window was going to be more like a 5 to 7 year window. To be perfectly honest with you, perhaps I was being extremely pessimistic with regards to what someone was going to be comfortable with doing. But the NFL has always been kind of that environment where that was, I don't want to say frowned upon, but not something you just want to come running out and announcing to the entire world. just from the fact that you would be fearful of what the recourse would be from your locker room, first and foremost, and then how the rest of the league would treat you as, you become a free agent and your career continues to progress. Like we said, no one has ever done this as an active NFL player. Michael Sam was the first to kind of be very outward and vocal about it, but he was just a draft pick. That wasn't an actual player in the league. He was trying to get into the league and get it indoctrinated into certain things. So that was a different type of scenario. With the over-under being 2, the over-under was 3. I would definitely be comfortable with the under. Maybe one other person does it, but I'm only saying that because I am so shocked that even this person did it. So I don't really have a really strong frame of reference, and we don't really have a whole lot of historical data to kind of fall back on, right, fellas, as far as what the protocol is for this. So this is, we're in uncharted waters here. So I would not be surprised if not a single other person comes out for the next 2 to 3 years. At the same time, I would be shocked if there was more than I would put my over under at more like 3 to 5.
And are you taking the over under? If you put it at 3 to 5, you got to pick a number, Cleveland. So if you put it at 4,
if I put it at
4, are you
I'll split it. If I put it at 4, I would definitely take the under. If I put it at 2, there might be someone else that comes out. I wouldn't feel comfortable with that.
Okay,
but 4, it won't be 4.
I'm comfortable with the under at 2. What about you, Mr. Clint?
Well, I mean, Michael Sams. You bring up Michael Sams. I mean, we, when he was drafted and well, I mean, come on, man. I mean, we grew up in Seattle. I mean, we have basically the biggest gay pride parade every year. Going down Broadway. It's not like we're more exposed to
it than most,
than most people, right? I mean, and me myself. I guess I can say it now. My brother, he came out as gay earlier this year, right? Okay. So I mean, we knew, but it's like when you're ready, you let us know.
Yeah, you got to accept it first.
Like, we're going to accept you no matter what anyway, right? So think about that. So him coming out as he has, could it have been as, as a surprise to his teammates? Probably not, right? They probably knew, some people, I mean, let's not be our aunt from the South and you're like, oh, I know he gay. Oh, I know he gay. We know cats like that, right? But as far as when it comes to NFL teams, we know, cats are, some cats are primitive, right? And you got to be careful, how you walk around them. But I think a lot of his teammates knew. And some of them probably already knew he was going to come out. Now, with that said, though, there's a lot of people that aren't ready for that spotlight, right? They're just not. And in that case, in just just knowing that from being in locker rooms and hearing the locker room talk, I'd have to put it at the under. At least under 5. 3 at the most, but under 5 for sure. I don't think there's going to be more players coming out like that, because not only that, it's unless you're a veteran, like if you're a rookie or a second-year guy and you're still trying to make your way in the league and you come out, there's still a bunch of people that will not accept you as that, and they will hold it against you, unfortunately, right? So, and that's, the stigma is still there, even though we're more accepting than ever before, like literally than ever before. There's still that element of people that will push back against that, and people they love their career. They want their family to be healthy. They don't want any problems, going on with their family. I just think this guy that came out, he is surrounded by a super family, super anchored. and his teammates accept him too. So not everybody's going to be that. That's why I say I think it's going to be under. Oh, we lose Cam?
I think we lost Cam. But just to touch on that point, I mean, again, I think also what we're going to see is that, certain areas just are not going to be accepting of that at all. And quite a few, NFL teams are in the South, and that's just not, as far as acceptance of that type of thing, it has to be on the coasts, right? Primarily. So you have to kind of start there, playing for the Raiders. At this point, they're Las Vegas, they're in the desert. So it's type of a neutral type of an environment. It's not something that has like a strong culture of this or that per se. It's just kind of the wild, wild west. It's just in the middle of the desert. So from that perspective, the fan base will be a little bit more accepting. I don't know if this is something that would go over that well in, say, a New Orleans or a Dallas or a Houston or Carolina or Nashville. I think or Jacksonville. I think you're having slightly a different conversation. And the highest selling jersey type of thing, and kind of the good for you. We're so proud of you and encourage you to kind of do that thing. I don't think it would have that same type of reception in some of those other cities, with NFL teams. And if you want to get real serious about it, an Indianapolis or a Green Bay or Minnesota, I'm not quite sure how accepting those environments would be of that kind of thing. So then you get into kind of that situation where, and I think that we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, kind of even with the whole flag thing, that because of what your demographic is that you're serving, you have to have a certain mindset, and you have to toe a certain line. I don't think Jerry Jones is the most racist owner in the league, but he's the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, and he doesn't understand kind of what his constituency is and who the people are that support him. So his reactions to things are not necessarily quite as personal as much as it is understanding who it is that he's representing. So I think that it's a good thing that Mr. C plays for the team that he does. I don't think it would go over as well in other places, but we will see what the kind of the fallout from all of this is.
So what the recap is, you're saying that player could most likely not pull that off in a Dallas Cowboy uniform.
No, I don't think he could pull it off west of where or east of where he pulled it, east or south of where he pulled it off. Yeah. To be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, he just ran.
It had to be on the coast.
Yeah, he just ran through all the list of the teams south of or east of Arizona. Even Arizona.
You're right. They're in trouble. Yeah, so that's a good point. That was a good point. So thanks for your feedback on that, fellas. That has a little challenge right there. But thanks for carrying the show. Last year we had several players opt out because of COVID restrictions. Some players chose to opt out. Those players that opt out, they didn't receive their salary. They received $150K, kind of a flat stipend. This year, that stipend's been increased to $350K. The deadline for players to opt out is July 2nd. Do you guys anticipate seeing, and we're talking about the NFL again, do you guys anticipate seeing the same amount of players that opted out last season opt out this season?
100% no. I mean, we know so much more. We're so much more educated, and so many more people have been vaccinated that can't be nearly that number.
Yeah, I mean, I would find it hard for people to opt out now, knowing what they know now versus last season, right? Because I mean, it was the wild, wild west last season, right? I mean,
yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and on top of that, man, I mean, any time that you, especially I mean, it wasn't a whole lot. It was more veterans than it was like younger people. Some of the guys retired because of potential CTE stuff. That stuff is a little bit different than opting out for COVID. I talked to a few people that were kind of shocked by people that opted out because even though they believed in the vaccination, they have family members that kept telling them, like, all of these conspiracy theories, right? And you would imagine that this is your career, right? You're in a fraternity, basically, that less than 1% of the population will ever get in, ever, right? Infinitesimal amount. And you still have people that even with, that have legitimate college degrees. I know, we know a lot of people that kind of just attended class as an athlete. As long as you were there, you're going to get a C, right?
Right.
Um, and then you have people that legitimately went to these classes. They took their biology class. They took their science classes. They know, the flu shot isn't, I mean, if a flu shot gave you microchips, I got about 29 of them in me because I get it every year, right? But there's still those people that are really superstitious and have family members that keep telling them, hey, they keep putting this stuff in their head. That opt out, it may grow, but if it grows, it'll most likely be among older players. I don't see like younger players getting before or in their prime opting out for COVID.
Yeah, good point. Good point. I don't think there'll be many opt out. Even it's interesting that they kind of they doubled that number from last year, giving them 200 more grand. But it's interesting that they raised it, and I don't expect that number to grow, especially this year, as you say, Cleveland. We know so much more this year, and they're encouraging a lot of players. Now we had. Cole Beasley say he refuses to get vaccinated. He refuses to follow these stipulations. But I think that's a rare breed. I don't think there'll be many players like him trying to jump out of line and try to create his own.
I beg to differ. There's a lot more out there than you think.
You in a field where they're making it, not only are they making it difficult for you, but they're almost making it a cast off if you don't get vaccinated. Now I don't have the rules in front of me, so I know a couple of the rules are that you can't eat. You're not going to be eating in the lunch. You're not eating lunch in the lunchroom with all the rest of the teammates. Okay, right. You're gonna when you travel, you're gonna have to stay quarantined in your hotel room. You're not able to travel out to dinner with your players. Now, if there's a group, let's say the offensive linemen, for example, if all the offensive linemen don't get vaccinated, now that's one thing. But if you're one of the 5 or let's say 8 offensive linemen who chose not to get vaccinated, like you're almost an outcast. You're almost not a part of the group anymore. It's kind of like if you're injured and you don't travel with the team. Now those players are itching to get back to where they're able to travel with the team. Not only do they want to play, but they want to be a part of their group. They want to be a part of the fraternity that you mentioned. So for that, we're not talking about the everyday cat whose family member is talking to him and saying you shouldn't get vaccinated for this, that, and the third. But when the guy's not being able to be part of his team, and that's what most athletes are yearning for, that team, that camaraderie. They play for that camaraderie. They play for the appreciation of their brotherhood. And by not getting vaccinated, you're kind of removing yourself from that group. And I don't know that a lot of players want to do that myself.
No, I mean, well, think about this too. I mean, even outside of COVID in itself, when longtime players retire, even especially star players, it's rare that you see them not choke up. Like they're genuinely upset that and most of the time, and let's be honest, most of the time, a longtime veteran like Brett Favre or let's say as Roger Staubach, I just watched one of those football things on him on the NFL channel. When they know it's over and they're not only are they not going to get the crowds anymore, because there's something about playing in front of 50, 60, 70,000 people every week that's absolutely bananas. You can't duplicate that anywhere else.
Right.
Then on top of that, the travel. You're with these guys, and most of these guys you like. You treat them like family members after a while, especially the ones that are around, even if they leave. It's a fraternity, right? And you really can't get that anywhere else. So to purposely pull yourself out, unless you have, of course, unless you have health issues or something like that, pre-existing condition, pulling yourself out as a healthy adult and pulling yourself away from all of that, there has to be something really strong. Either you're really religious or you're really superstitious. There has to be something that's really powerful for you to
driving
do that.
it. Yeah, I'd agree. But for those exact reasons, now you talked about Brett Favre, Roger Staubach. Now those guys in quarterbacks, they have an opportunity kind of to see that end, if you will. Maybe whether they announce it or admit it, they see that end coming. Now somebody like I just throw this example out there, like a Richard Sherman, who that end may not be as visible for him and as clear for him. Has he been able to prepare for that as Brett Favre coming in his last final season? He knows his arm getting weaker. He knows he's not being able to complete that 20-yard out like he did for the last 15 years. Richard's still able to believe he can do this. Has he prepared for the end as a Roger Staubach may have, as a Brett Favre may have, or the John Elway may have? Chances are he's not. So, like you say, I don't think a lot of players will. In the Cole Beasley situation, I don't think there's a lot of players who's going to outwardly remove himself or outwardly go against his rules because of that fraternity, because of that brotherhood that they will be taking themselves away from. I could be naive, but that's something I believe in. Cleveland, what's your thoughts?
No, that's not a conscious decision that you make. Typically, you make that decision as a precaution for your own health. And just your well-being and the betterment and the longevity of your career. Now, over the last year, we've cleared quite a few of those hurdles, and so the landscape is a lot clearer with regards to kind of how this whole thing works and what the level of expectation is. Fans coming back, at full capacity. That in and of itself says everything, right? There was no fans last year. This year, everybody can come back. So if you're kind of taking that stance, well, I just don't know and I'm not sure, well, I'm not going to say that you're behind the curve. I'm just going to say that you're not really kind of the same mindset as everyone else. And if so, and you're willing to kind of jeopardize your career going forward to do so, then that is entirely up to you. But I think there's not going to be a high percentage of people that feel that way. And that, with every day as we get closer to, kind of the 70% that we're looking for, that people feel more confident, and I think they'll react accordingly. So I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of Cole Beasley type incidents going forward with the NFL.
Yeah,
I mean, to his team, people may not, people that are casual fans that watch, the NFL, they don't see Cole Beasley as he's not the only reason he's a household name is because maybe stuff like this pops up. But sure. for the Bills, he's intricate. I mean, they need him. Like, they literally need him. Like, they need him. Like, I mean, slot receiver. I'm sorry.
He's a possession receiver. He's a possession
but
receiver.
He's not just possession though. He is one of the. I don't know how you can. Can you really say elite slot receiver? But he's an above average slot receiver. Like, he's a veteran, right? And they need him.
Well, let's not confuse him for being replaceable.
Right.
Let's not confuse him with being replaceable. He's been a productive player for them, certainly. And where they're trying to go, they need to. So So when you say that, and here's something, I'll share this with you because I do cover the Chargers as well. And I had this conversation, Clint, Cleveland. We talked about this a few weeks ago, where I talked to the GM, and the specific situation was the Chargers chose not to bring back Hunter Henry because they felt he wasn't worth the dollars that he would command as a free agent. And my question was, well, what do you think about continuity? Are you a believer in continuity and paying a few extra dollars just to keep everybody together, keep the same group together that's been performing well? And the GM looked at me and just says, no, that's not really important. I was like, well, that kind of blew me away because I thought I've been a sports fan and I thought that continuity was key. Like that, having the guys that kind of grow together, learn together, play together, like each other. I thought that was huge. And we're talking about a locker room guy. Hunter Henry's a locker room guy. Through their losing that the Chargers has done, everybody frequently called out Hunter Henry as the guy who keeps the locker room together, keeps it joyous. Everybody likes to be around him. So I thought having him was key. And I asked the general manager, says, "Yo, how big is what role does continuity play in whether you bring a player back or not?" And he's just, no, it's not important at all. And it surprised me. So I use this to say, Clint, not only is Cole Beasley not replaceable, or excuse me, not only is Cole Beasley replaceable, that continuity piece maybe it's not as big as some of us looking for him far imagine. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Let's work backwards. Work backwards from the championship teams, and not just the championship teams. Work backwards from the teams that are consistently in the playoffs,
right,
year in and year out. Count backwards from those teams, and ask Ozzie Newsome, is continuity important?
Yeah, that's fair point.
Right? I don't know who the GM for the Chargers is. I don't want to disrespect him at all. I mean, I don't know.
Tom Telesco.
Right. So, I mean, who are you going to listen to? That guy or Ozzie Newsome?
Right. I feel you. I feel you. It was just coming from any GM that said that. I thought, without even talking to Ozzie Newsome, I thought that was a center focus of the team is you keep the guys who get along with each other, who work well together. You keep those on your team. And we're talking about Hunter Henry did sign for, I think it's three years, $36 million with the Patriots. I think 3 years, $36 million, and they were only going to offer him like.
To be honest with you,
I'm sorry.
That's a lot of money for a tight end. To be honest,
yeah,
with you. I get that part of it.
And they were only going to offer him like 5 to 6. So that $6 million gap, is it worth it? But I'm thinking, okay, well, if he means that much to the squad, maybe we can give him. We're slotting him for 6. Maybe we can give him 9. And would Hunter take 9 or 13? To be in Southern California versus New England, to be with the team with the young quarterback or a quarterback that you're not so sure about in New England. I think they could have made that work if that was important to them. You follow what I'm saying? If that's important, you have that conversation. Not to say that they didn't, but I say that you can. And now we're only talking about $3 million because you're willing to bump up a little bit, and maybe he's willing. He sees you're playing with him. Maybe he's willing to come down a little bit. Who knows? But when the conversation was, I didn't talk dollar figures with him. It was just the continuity piece, and he just kind of blew it off as not really important.
Yeah, it's still kind of suspect. I mean, even if he's a tight end, he's not Antonio Gates or anybody, but Antonio Gates is on his way out, right? I mean,
Antonio Gates was gone, but the thing was, what Hunter Henry specifically was a locker room guy, and when the team goes on a 6-game losing streak, and you ask, okay, and I personally asked the question, like during these times, who do you guys look for in the locker room to kind of keep you motivated? Who to keep you encouraged? And when Hunter Henry's name comes up time and again, that speaks to him, the players in valuing him being there. So that speaks to him being that I thought that's worth extra dollars, in my opinion. I didn't mean to get off a tangent, but I thought that was interesting.
That's people need to talk about that more. There, it's not all about stats. It's not all about stats and highlights and different things like that. I mean, you got to get into the stuff that makes the team work, right? And that's part of it. That's actually a big part of it.
That you got to work. You don't have to like each other, but you got to be able to work together. And if you like each other, you're probably going to work together better. And so I thought that was key. So looking at across the landscape, there's some veterans that's out there that hasn't been signed. But I want to ask you guys about Baker Mayfield. His extension is up. Do you guys extend Baker Mayfield? What's that?
No.
You do not?
I don't.
I may disagree with him on this one. I don't know. Go ahead. I want to hear this.
So we just had this long. You just heard me talk about continuity. You're willing to change quarterbacks?
I like Baker, man. I'm not giving Baker $40 million next year.
Ooh, that's a lot.
I will not do it.
I don't know about 40. I mean,
I won't give him $35 million next year. I may give him $30 million. And I would have to be in an awfully generous mood for that. And I know that he's going to be looking somewhere closer to 40.
No, he can't.
So I think they're going to be too far apart. It depends on what he does this season. Of course, if he gets them again to the AFC Championship and quite possibly even to the Super Bowl, well, then you have to reevaluate things to a certain extent. But no.
He can't be asking for 40.
Franchise him. I am franchising him.
I mean, think about it, though. Dak Prescott. Right? I mean, even though he got hurt.
I don't think he's as good as Dak Prescott.
Honestly, I don't think so either. But look where they went, though.
Hold on. He's not as good as Dak Prescott.
See, there you go.
I don't think he's as good as Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott is at $40 million.
Right. He is not as good as Dak Prescott, but he did push his team into the playoffs, though.
True.
So what do you do?
I don't know. I think
you franchise him for one more year, and if he shows you he's that dude, then you got to pay him. If not, then you got to move on. But he doesn't get it right out the chute.
Does Mayfield strike you as the guy? If you franchise him without paying him this year, you think he's coming back?
Yeah. Cleveland's.
I think he's coming back. If you franchise him and he shows you one more time, I'm that dude. Then you have to pay him.
I don't know. I mean, not like I know Mayfield or anything like that, but from what I understand, his ego is through the roof of any other quarterback that you can really think of right now. And franchising him when he feels that he should be getting paid this year, I don't know if he's coming back.
So I think Baker Mayfield is better than Dak Prescott.
What?
However, yes.
Hold on, I gotta get up for me. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, man, what's going on around here?
Prescott got paid. Prescott paid a bunch of money because once he got hurt, their season went in the toilet like precipitously. There was a precipitous drop off. Once and that only heightens his value for the Cowboys. So he got paid. $40 million for him. It was a lot. Where I do think Baker Mayfield is better than Dak Prescott, I'm not in a hurry to give him $40 million. We're looking at 31.
Oh, well, you had better be in a hurry to give him $40 million. No. You're not having any kind of conversation whatsoever.
No.
That's what this conversation is about.
No.
You had better be in a hurry to give him $40 million.
Here's the conversation. Look at your wide receiving core. You have the number one running game in the NFL. Look at your defense that we're building over here. Baker, if you want to be who you say you want to be, number one, you've had one good season over 3,500 yards passing. Baker Mayfield, we still need to add to your point. We still need to see you take the next level. We want to see us win because of you and not because of the defense that we put together, not because of the the number one running team in the NFL. We want to see you utilize these wide receivers great. And Cleveland, I asked you last week, would Odell Beckham finish the season as a Brown? Personally, if I was a GM, Odell Beckham he wouldn't start the season as a Cleveland Brown because Baker Mayfield. Now you guys got me confused because Baker Mayfield played much better when Odell got hurt, and he's not keying on him. He's now able to spread the ball around and not focusing on one guy. So that's a couple. There's a couple moves I would make, but I'm certainly having a conversation like Baker. We didn't win because of you. We didn't win. Okay, now you can contribute. You need to take the next level and show us that you are that guy who can now take advantage of the talent that he has around him. Because they had the number one running game. Their defense is going to be even more explosive this season. So, and they have a great receiving core. So they didn't necessarily win because of Baker Mayfield, as though I do like Baker, if you understand what I'm saying.
I'm just, you know what? Honestly, I watched a lot of Cleveland games, even after Odell went down. This is the thing. Cleveland is loaded with weapons, like literally loaded with weapons. I mean, they have a few young receivers that had cases of the dropsies, which I mean, and that's you can't blame that on Mayfield. If Mayfield puts it in your breadbasket and you drop it 2 or 3 times a game, you can't blame that on Mayfield. You can't. That doesn't make him better than Dak, by the way. Right. But I mean, you got 2 of the best running backs, and due to circumstances, they were so fortunate to get Hunt. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, dude. I mean, they have weapons.
Yeah. Not only did they have Chubb, but you add Hunt to that combination. Ooh.
No, but he's putting the ball. I mean, I think I looked at Pro Football Focus because I was doing some DraftKings, and I looked at Pro Football Focus, and he was putting the ball in the receiver's hands. Mostly it was in the slot, of course, because when you're not like an Aaron Rodgers, you don't always have the confidence to throw that 20 or 30 yard out to your number 1 or number 2 receiver. A lot of his completions were going.
Now you said, now your question is confidence. Okay, continue.
No, I'm just saying though. I did watch the games, Cam. I'm telling you, I watched the games and I saw some of the throws he was making. Most of those throws were safe. There were a lot of safe throws, right? Versus that, he'll throw it 50 yards down the field and say, hey, I got Landry. Like if Mayfield was like, hey, I got Landry, I'm going to launch it anyway, no matter if the safety is coming over. I didn't see a lot of those passes, right? But he did put them on the receiver. Them dropping the passes is not his fault, correct? Right? So, I mean, I give him that. I don't see him better than Dak. I mean, I can't see that. I can't see that, him being better than Dak and asking for that much money and then getting franchised and saying, okay, yeah, now I got us back to the playoff. We didn't make the Super Bowl, but I got us back to the playoffs. Now you pay me. I see him saying, okay, you know what? These guys didn't pay me. Like, I'm going to the highest bidder now. I don't see him giving Cleveland a chance to re-sign him if they franchise him. That's all I'm saying.
I don't wow. I'd be surprised if he went elsewhere, because if Cleveland doesn't give him, if Cleveland's not going to give him top dollar, I'm not sure there's a lot of because Cleveland obviously they know the warts.
What about Miami? Miami will pay him.
Oh,
wow. All right, man. I know your boy too. I know. We talked about this. Hey, Cleveland, we talked about. Me and Cam went back and forth on these on Tua last year, right? So he's my. I respect Tua. He did his thing for the situation he was in. But I'm just saying, if they got a chance to pay Mayfield, guess who's going to be the second quarterback? It's going to be Tua. They'll pay Mayfield.
Absolutely. Now we're 100. 100% agreement there. But we got our eyes on we got our eyes on somebody else. We got our eyes on somebody else. And Cleveland knows that it is. You know the guy. He's off. He has a massage. We're massage reclamation project. We're trying to wean him off of the massages right now before he gets down to South Florida. And before we show our public interest,
or at least use the same one, right? Cam, at least the same.
or at least the same. Use the same service. Make sure it's all in the family, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's that's something special right there, boy. I don't.
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do there. But in all seriousness, I think Cleveland's a good spot for him. Just looking at some numbers, and their overall rating for a career, Dak is 97.3, and Baker is 89.1. That's for the career. That's their playoff rating. The completion rating is 66 for Dak, 61 for Baker Mayfield. Now we know Dak has many more yards. He has more touchdowns because he's often coming from behind. That I would attribute that to coming from behind.
So Cam, if Baker Mayfield wants Ryan Tannehill money, that's cool. I mean, give him Ryan Tannehill money, but just don't go don't go asking for Dak Prescott money. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I want you to again. That's the conversation we're gonna have to have. Dak, Baker, it's not all because of you. We had that conversation, and if he believes it's all because of him, then he's gonna be in Indianapolis somewhere. He's gonna be in. He might be riding the bench in Jacksonville, or we see him in I don't know New Orleans making a resurgence. I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know where
he'll go somewhere, and he'll start though for sure. I mean there's no question about that. The only issue is that we're talking like surface stuff, right? We're not digging into the advanced analytics, right? I kind of mentioned where he's throwing the ball, which makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference on where he's throwing the ball as a starter versus, there's a fine line between being a game manager and a playmaker, right?
Yeah.
When you hit that level of being a playmaker, some quarterbacks and players reach it way quicker than others. I mean, like Russell Wilson, like Big Ben when he first came in, second year in, he went crazy, right? I mean, but Big Ben and Wilson, they're a little bit different. But with Big Ben, he was always throwing the long ball. He was unafraid to get that ball out to the 20, 30 yard end post, the deep streaks. I mean, he had the weapons. Like AB all these other cats, right?
All that speaks to the weapons that you have. And again, if I'm Baker Mayfield, I'm not in a hurry to go anywhere, understanding the talent that they have in Cleveland. That's
okay. Well, then calm down, then Cam. Calm down and take your 32 and a half, and let's hang out and do something.
That's what I said.
If you're looking north of 40, we got a problem.
That's what Cleveland. That's what I said. If we're gonna have to talk about 30 in between that 32, 33 range. Okay, Baker, you can stay here. We're signing that 7-year contract. Outside of that, right? Outside of that, man, come on. You have to understand who you are and what your value is here. And if you want to go somewhere else, it is a lot of money, but that's where the market is. But if you want to go somewhere else and do some different things, have at it. But here, this is what we can offer you. So we're talking about veterans now that, where do you want to see these veterans? Richard Sherman, Mitchell Schwartz, Justin Houston, Todd Gurley, Melvin Ingram. Now, all these guys except for Sherman and Ingram kind of priced themselves out of the market with their last contract. Mitchell Schwartz was making, I think, the $18 million as an offensive lineman. Houston was making $20 million. KC paid him. Todd Gurley got an exorbitant contract to kind of price him out. Melvin Ingram, he was making $12 million. Richard Sherman, was he around $13 million? So which one of these guys would you, not necessarily for the Seahawks, but would you be interested in? I think the Seahawks should be interested in Mitchell Schwartz. I don't know if they've been on the phone. Has Sierra contacted Mitchell Cleveland?
Cam, you need to stop acting like that's still that bat phone is still active. That's been disconnected, my friend. She doesn't have that kind of say and pull anymore. So you need to stop asking that question as to whether Sierra has chimed in or not, because that's yeah. Yeah, she's getting dial tone.
Okay.
More of that.
Well, has anybody contacted Mitchell Schwartz? Because you need linemen.
We contact him. We be in talks, Cam. We'll see how things go. As we're in talks with everybody. It's a fluid situation right now. We're getting close to training camp. We want to be full. We want to see what we can do. And now Dwayne Brown has started to trip out. Like, wow, like where did that come from?
I don't
like,
know
oh my God,
what happened with that too. I don't want something happened on the back.
Like, what in the world? Like, if we would have known that, we would have made all kinds of different kind of decisions.
Exactly.
You want to trip out? Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So we're kind of trying to put that fire out, but we'll be all right.
No, elaborate on Dwayne Brown's situation for the people.
Oh, well, out of nowhere, Dwayne Brown decided that he wants a new, more lucrative contract, that he's outplayed his current contract, which is not something that he had communicated to the Seahawks organization prior to the 2 weeks ago before he did that. And it puts everybody in a very precarious position because, of course, now the salary cap has pretty much been solidified. There's a few things that we still need to button up and take care of, i.e. Jamal Adams and a few other marquee players. And you just weren't on the list, Playboy. And all of a sudden you just want to throw yourself on the list out of nowhere. It's kind of, like, come on, man. Be a professional with all this.
But when he sees a converted defensive tackle trying to line up,
that's been years and years and years ago, Cameron. We're not doing that no more. That experiment is over with, man. We don't do that no more.
But when he's lining up,
and it started with him, as a matter of fact. It started out with picking up him, which is why we don't do that no more.
That same thing got him frustrated. Maybe that same exact thing.
Well, hey, man,
who's lining up next to him?
Sidebars. We need to have some sidebars before June, man. Before you just start acting all crazy. I mean, come on now.
I don't know if this is a trend with these, like, the rumors of, Russell Wilson wanting out and different things, and maybe I think there was a rumor that he was throwing some of the offensive linemen under the bus. Maybe that was something that he was thinking about. But to the point where, he is one of those guys. We need him. Like, let's not pretend that we don't need him.
And he knows that. And he knows that.
The problem is we have a few holes that needs to be filled, and they can't be filled with guys that are looking for bigger contracts. It has to be filled by guys that either we can go by the formula of being able to pick up guys that maybe a few other teams don't want, like we usually do. That's kind of our MO. Like, cats don't want certain players. The players have worn out their welcome other places. We bring them in, right? We don't pay them. Now, Adams is Adams is one of those tricky guys, man. I don't want to compare him to why am I drawing a blank? The receiver that we picked up. How do you play? He don't even think he played like 8 games.
How you doing? I'm good. How you doing, man? Good to see you, you want to sit down and we got some questions, man. Let us pick your brain, man. Give me. Oh well, I can't argue that. We talking everything, Chris. How much time you talking? 5 minutes.
Give us a couple minutes at least.
All right. Hey, we got Chris Haynes about to join us. Chris Haynes is about to join us and give us some heads up. Give us some NBA logic. As we know, we got the NBA Finals or Western Conference Finals going down. So get your questions ready for Mr. Chris Haynes, fellas.
I got a bunch. I got a bunch already. I don't have to get nothing ready. I got questions. We'll let the people, let the let the people that's watching, get those questions in so we can see. Please don't ask stupid questions. Please don't waste this man's time. Right? Ask some good questions because he might come back.
Here he is right here. Come on, sit down with us, man. Sit down with us. Chris Haynes joining Voice of the Fans podcast. Let me.
Oh man, these guys are talking away. So terrible.
What did he do? Oh, he's on mute and he don't even know it. We can't hear you. You on mute.
There we go. Can you hear us?
Got you.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
Got it.
So I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and ask them first. We talked about NBA. We're 2 hours in. All right, Chris.
Y'all 2 hours in.
We already talked about NBA. We're talking NFL. So, but I got a couple questions. I always like to talk. You always like to get you. Go ahead, Cleveland. Ask your question, Mr. Chris Haynes.
Yeah, Big Chris. Quick question. Trae Young or D Booker, who wins that NBA Finals when that's all done and settled and done? When they're in the finals playing each other, who wins that?
So basically, you calling Phoenix and Atlanta in the finals?
I'm calling that right now on this show in front of the whole world. Yes.
Man. Damn. Oh man. Look, man. Phoenix is the hottest team right now, man. Like they are gelling. We've seen what they did without Chris Paul. It's showing that 8-0 record in the bubble wasn't no fluke. And with Chris Paul, they just took it to another level. So as of right now, man, I think out of 4 teams still remaining, Phoenix is the best team right now from top to bottom. So with that being said, I have to say I would go with Devin Booker.
There you go.
Secondly, do you agree with my assessment that those will be the 2 teams in the NBA
No,
Finals?
hell no. No, I can't go that far.
You heard it from the I'm not sure you believe that. Go ahead, Clint. What you got?
I got so much, man. Mr. Haynes, thanks for sitting down. We appreciate you. One of the things that you can't really speak on this too, and I'll try to simplify it as much as possible. You're there. You're at the games. You see what's going on. I'm not, without mentioning names, there are a few players who we feel should be if not playing better, but also showing up when the team needs them the most. And I don't, like I said, I don't want to get you in trouble or with anybody that you interview or sources or anything like that.
Call names. What players you talking about?
Oh, we really want to go there? All right. So, Paul George.
Okay.
As dynamic as he is, and as much as he scores, one of the best two-way players in the league, we get to this point in the playoff every single year. Every year. And something goes wrong. Whether it's in his hands or whether it's not in his hands. What are we seeing? What are we missing? Are you seeing something that we're not seeing as far as why he's not doing these things? I mean, where are we as far as that goes? I'm kind of confused.
No, I think at this point we've all seen exactly what he is, and he's an all-star player. Does he have flaws? Definitely. Pressurized moments, he hasn't shown. At least there hasn't been a large sample size of showing that he can produce when it really matters. And this look, let's take away last night's game. He stepped it up in the playoffs. Like he's had a resurgence. So I don't want to get back to the Paul George slander based off the 2 free throws that he missed.
Surrender. That's the word.
Because it's easy to do so. It's easy to foul on. But no, I want to see. Look, Game 3 here in Los Angeles, packed crowd. I want to see if he's going to step up to the plate, and I expect him to. I don't know if I expect him to win or not, but I expect Paul George to go out there and produce, and he's been doing that. So with that being said, yeah, it was unfortunate he had a bad game. With those free throws in particular. And got everybody, back on the pile on Paul George train. But he's been playing stellar, and I expect that to continue. Now I'm gonna get out. I gotta get out.
One more question.
You got a question? Okay.
I got one.
Right.
I got one.
Hit me up, man.
So you know what's going on in Portland?
Yeah.
Is Dame staying in Portland?
That's a good question.
Uh-oh. That told me something. That told me something right there. And then
that's because he knows where he's coming, Cam.
I'm not even gonna ask that question. And then
he can't tell you right now, but you already know.
Ben Simmons.
Is that a separation there?
I think they have to. The problem is that his value has tanked dramatically compared if you look at the salary that he's going to be making.
But by September, that people kind of forget about.
You ain't forgetting about that.
Really,
it's your last impression.
Sure.
Just like when guys go into free agency, those last 10 or 15 games, that's what sticks out, and that's how your stock can soar based off that last. Everybody's just like, what have you done for me lately? Sure. And so that's going to have an effect. Like nobody's going to forget about Ben Simmons and what happened.
Wow.
Nobody's going to forget about that.
Ben Simmons in Portland for CJ McCollum.
I don't see that.
You don't see that? Chris Haynes, folks. Nice to see you, man.
Hey, nice to meet y'all, bros. Y'all be safe.
I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be there tomorrow, man.
You take care, bro.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Look at that. Look at Cam. Cam getting the gets. Look at it. Well, he's one of your peers, right? He's one of your peers. That's what it is, right?
Yeah. So yeah, we go back. I've been trying to get this cat for a little while, so it was pretty cool that he came over and swung by. I didn't even see him. He walked up. I'm like, who is this? He walked up on me. I was like, who is this guy? Okay. So at least you guys got a chance to get a couple NBA questions off. Hopefully, give you some deep knowledge. Please, I didn't like this Dame staying in Portland. I didn't like
oh, you didn't, huh?
I didn't like that.
You did not like the
because if
stuck that one in there. I wasn't ready for that.
He was a longtime reporter for the Blazers. He was a sideline reporter to Blazers, so he knows Dame actually. So that's why I asked him, because he knows Dame. He
knows it's time to go. And then when you asked him that question, he knew it was not time to say it.
Wow. Yeah. I did not like that one, fellas.
That one snuck up on me. I wasn't ready for that one.
I didn't like that one, fellas. And Cleveland. Oh my goodness. Oh, both of you guys is fair. Oh, both of you guys are fake Laker fans too. I didn't like that at all.
Man, I've been with the Lakers since Big Game James got drafted, baby. You better recognize.
and those in Clipper Nation have their opportunity right now to seize the moment, man. Seize the time, man. Get your shit, man. Get involved in the conversation, man. Get in the game, man.
So, all right, fans. That was a real cool intermission there we had right there. Let's get into our NFL predictions before we take another break, and then we kind of wrap up the show. Our predictions for the NFC West.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mine's is a little different than yours, and Clint, feel free to comment on these. But Cleveland, you have the Seahawks, the Rams, the Niners, and the Chargers. Or excuse me, the Cardinals. Last season, you and I both had the Chargers at the bottom of the division. So nothing's different this season. I have this year. I have the Rams. You have Rams 2. I have the Rams number 1. I think with them having an actual quarterback in the guy Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay's licking his chops. He can't wait to get a hold of this guy and get him get him in SoFi, that turf at SoFi Stadium, throwing the ball around. The one thing I'm concerned about, is I think Matthew Stafford, he does best is throw the deep ball. They do not have a deep threat. So can he rein these passes in instead of going 25 yards downfield? Can he go to 15 to 20 yards downfield with the receiving core that they have? Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, the tight ends that they have. That's my one concern, is that they don't have this huge deep threat, and Matthew Stafford throws the deep ball best. However, nonetheless, they had the number one defense in the NFC last season, so I got the Rams winning this division. I got the 49ers making a bounce back. They had the Super Bowl hangover last season where –
I'm sorry, it sounds like on your list you have the Seattle Seahawks in third place in this division.
I have the Seattle Seahawks third.
What?
They don't know what's going on up there. They don't want to let Russell cook. So they want to go with this running game. Tell me a season that their running backs have stayed healthy. Oh, they haven't. Tell me a season where they want to focus on the running game where their offensive line has been stellar and their offensive line leads the pack. Oh, that's not the case. So you want to let Russ cook.
Cam, you do recall they were.
Hold on. Excuse me, sir. You don't want to let Russ cook. You don't want to let Russ cook. But you have inconsistent running game. You have inconsistent offensive linemen. You have inconsistent running backs. Your defense is taking maybe a couple steps back. I'm not expecting all but your linebacker, Bobby Wagner, is all pro right now. Your guy, Jamal Adams, who you don't want to pay. I understand why you don't want to pay him, because he's not going to play 17 games this season. He's going to play probably 13 or 14 games. So I understand why you don't want to pay a full salary for a guy who's not going to give you full contribution. I understand that. However, that makes your defense taking a step back or two. So I have the Seahawks. I have them battling that Niners spot for the number 2, but I think because the Niners run game production, because of the Niners actual defense that they have, I think they're going to be better positioned to win that second spot in this division and potentially get in the playoffs. So I don't have the Seahawks making the playoffs. Both of you Seahawks, go ahead and tell me where I'm wrong.
Sure. I'll be real quick and real brief, Cam. The San Francisco 49ers don't know who's going to be starting at quarterback for them. And the Seahawks were 12 and – I'm sorry, who's starting?
They know who's going to be starting. Is the question how long will he be starting?
Okay, so Jimmy Garoppolo for 5 games. Yeah, that's not continuity. Again, the Seahawks were 12 and 4 last year. That means the young
guy's going to be ready.
Seahawks were 12 and 4 last year, and they're better than they were last year.
How are they better? How are they better?
How
are they better?
Who did they lose?
Yeah, where's the subtraction?
is
a running game going to be consistent?
Yeah, Chris Carson's going to be just fine. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Well, here I'll even go one better. Who's been one of the most dynamic running backs that we've had besides Marshawn Lynch? Russell Wilson. We don't need 100 yards from Russell Wilson every game. All we need him to do.
There's a problem right there.
It hasn't been a problem.
How old is Russell? He's 30 years old.
And we would have had 2 wins if it wasn't for people being smarter than the situation.
Clint, that was 9 years ago, bro. That was 8 years ago. You went to the Super Bowl. 8 years.
Who has the? All right. So since we're talking about recent history, who has the best winning percentage in the last 3 or 4 years? Go look it up. Top three quarterbacks. Go look it up.
I'm not arguing that your quarterback. My thing is you're not allowing the quarterback to flourish. You want to keep handing the ball off.
But do what?
You want to keep handing the ball.
He was
off
playing in an offensive last year that they got figured out. They figured him out the second half of the year.
So they figured out. So he's going to be better this year after the league figured him out.
That's correct. He has a new offensive coordinator. He has a new offensive coordinator. He has the opportunity to flourish and show more of his skills and ability. He'll be just fine. Thanks for asking.
Yeah,
They're
you're
gonna
not a
be-
believer in Mr. Wilson, are you?
I am a believer in Mr. Wilson. I'm a true believer in Mr. Wilson. Who I'm not a believer is Pete Carroll, John Snyder, and the rest of the crew up there. I believe they're wasting Russell's years away. That's what I believe. That
I don't.
let the man
You
cook.
know what? Here's
Let
what
the
I know,
man
Cam.
cook.
Here's what I
Tyler
know.
Lockett, you needed another receiver. You should have went out and got Julio Jones. Then you could have let Russell throw the ball all over the yard.
Hold
you
on.
could have
Wait,
let Russell.
Cam.
Yeah.
Who was Tyler Lockett before he got to the Seahawks, though? Right?
He
Tyler
was
Lockett.
a rookie. He was a rookie.
Right.
He came out of college.
I'm looking at a. Well, let's go through. I mean, well, we can't
He
really
was a
go
punt
through that.
returner at Kansas State before he came to the Seattle Seahawks.
Before he started
and then he
catching passes from
learned
Russell Wilson.
behind
Before he
Doug
started catching
Baldwin
passes.
to be a consummate pro.
I got another name
I
for
think
you.
that's where
I got
Clint was
another
going
name
with
for you,
that.
Cam. Who was Baldwin before he got to the Seahawks?
He was a fifth round. Was he even
Oh,
drafted?
stop.
Clint?
Don't even
I
go
I
there.
don't even know if he
Come
was
on,
drafted.
stop
I'm
it.
just
Stop it.
saying.
He was a
Baldwin.
Stanford Cardinal doing nothing, a punt returner.
Stop it.
Come on, man.
Don't give me those guys.
He had 10
Don't talk
touchdowns
about
one
those
year. How did
Don't
he
talk about
have
those
10 touchdowns
pedestrian
1 year?
receivers. Do not talk about those pedestrian receivers.
Exactly.
Okay?
That's what I'm saying. He's pedestrian.
That's
Cam, what
Russell.
What about
That's
that
Russell.
one burner?
That's
I
Russell.
know.
That's Russell. So you got to let Russ cook is what I'm telling you guys. They're not allowing Russ in the kitchen.
Tyler Lockett had
trying
100 catches this year. What do you mean?
By
DK Metcalf over 1,000 yards.
He cooked for nine weeks of the season. 9 weeks of the season he was cooking. And then they took the ball out of his arm. They took the ball out. They took the ball out
this offense.
Okay.
Here, Cam. You know what? I'm gonna tell you one thing that, and I kind of get what you're saying as far as not letting him cook. There's a reason why they have, and especially in the last 2 or 3 years, where they have not let him let loose on the offense. And the one main reason for it, and you kind of touched on it, is that our defense, that Tampa 2 cover zone that they run, it drives me absolutely crazy. We don't have the personnel like we did back when we had the Legion of Boom, and that's kind of what they're always trying to mold these young players into. The problem with that is you don't have at least one of the carryovers to actually say, hey, this is how you're supposed to do it. This is where you're supposed to be. They're not there. They're trying to find that on the fly, and we're not having good results with it. Henceforth, we run the ball more to control the pace of the game, keep the ball out of the other opponent's hands as much as we possibly can. It looks really bad now because we don't have Marshawn Lynch, who made up for so many mistakes that we had before, right? That's the honest.
So what you just told me is they don't understand the personnel that they have. That's exactly what you just told me. They don't. They don't because they try to run the ball and Marshawn Lynch isn't there. They run the ball with Carson, who's of course you give him the ball 350 times a season, he's gonna have some yards, of course. Okay, but they don't have any breakaway talent back there. Rashad Penny, unfortunately, I thought Rashad Penny was going to be the next guy. He's not. Okay, with that makeshift offensive line, you bring your nose tackle over to play guard. That doesn't work. Okay, that's what they're traditionally trying to do. So why not let your quarterback, who can throw the ball all over the field, who's 10 years into the league, knows how to perform within the league, knows how to get DK Metcalf the ball. He knows how to get Tyler Lockett the ball. You should have brought Julio Jones in there, who then it gives him another receiver to play with, and allow your quarterback to cook, allow your quarterback to air it out. That's where the game is going. Stop trying to run the ball. This is not Lindo White and Reggie Bush. This is not 2003, okay, where you guys just have superior talent and can run all over the league. That's not what this is, Pete. That's not what this is, John.
Ken, what happened to Tua? What happened to Tua this year?
What do you mean? What happened to Tua?
He got hurt. He got injured.
Yeah. Come on, you can't. Don't compare Tua to Russell.
I'm just saying.
Don't try to make that comparison.
To have a pass block, an above average pass blocking line. I mean, let's go to the Patriots. you have to be together for a certain amount of time, unless you can click right away, or you have some young people that actually pick up the scheme quickly. Then you can have that where you can have a pocket and you can stand in there, maybe 2 or 3 times a game where you can stand in the pocket for 5 or 6 seconds and pick and choose. The Seahawks don't have that. They've always had somebody's either been nicked or that who was the guy? We had a chance to get the one guy, who's the one racist dude? What's his name? He used to play for the Dolphins.
He used to play and was in Buffalo.
Incognito.
Right, Incognito.
Yes.
We had a chance to get him because he was really good, but of course
he's more of a run blocker. He's more of a run blocker, but okay.
Yeah, but I mean the gelling of the line in itself, right? If you have a bad offensive line, you can get away with running the ball if you have the right scheme to do it. Like, I mean, I get it. I know Carson. I love his size, but we're spoiled by Marshawn Lynch, right? I mean, it's just the way it is. But if we don't run the ball, we don't give Russell Wilson a chance to even cook then, right? Russell Wilson's making things happen with limited amount of possibilities. But if we let him loose for 50 passes a game, our offensive line is going to get him killed. They just will.
And Clint, Cam likes to run off at the mouth, but a lot of times he doesn't really believe what it is that he's saying. Cam, I'm just gonna throw it out here just like this, man. Put it on the sticky note, man. Are the Seahawks making the playoffs this year? Because you got them coming in third in the NFC West. Are the Seahawks making the playoffs this year?
No. You want me to put it on the sticky note? Is that a sticky? The Seahawks will not make the playoffs. I'm putting it on right now.
Okay.
Seahawks will not make the playoffs.
You know how we do, right? You know how we do, Cam, right? Is that where you put in your mouth?
Oh, what you want to put on the table for it? What you want to put on it? Make it light up yourself.
You know how I do, Cam. I like steak and lobster.
I'm gonna grab a sticky note. I'm coming right back.
I like steak and lobster for these type of wagers, man, my friend. A team that went 12-4 is not going to make the playoffs. Yeah.
Hey, I got it on the sticky note.
Okay.
By the time the season starts, we will revisit this topic. Okay.
Let's revisit that.
All right, here it goes. I'm writing it down right now.
We gotta run a note.
Is absolutely crazy.
Says the Seattle Seahawks will not make the playoffs.
Will not make the playoffs.
Okay.
In 2021. Just to be clear.
Get the year right too. Okay, I get it.
Make sure we're clear there.
Oh my goodness gracious.
So we got to take a break here, man. We got some big topics to talk about before this show's over yet. But let's take a little break right now. When we come back, man, we're gonna give you what we give you every week. This week in history, we're gonna talk about some historical events that happened in the country, and then we're gonna come back around to about the NBA replay rules. Like, we're gonna kind of make that a short segment, and then I want to think about this, guys. Last night, I don't think was the best game-winning play with under a second to go. But think about what was the best game-winning play in the NBA. I already know what my pick is, but last night wasn't the best. It was good. It wasn't the best though. What's the
this
best
year or historical?
Or historically?
Okay.
There's been some historical events. Last night wasn't the best, but I think I know what was the best. Last night was good. It wasn't the best. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. Well, let's take a little quick break here. Yeah, Cleveland's wild, ain't he?
Oh, you throw this back on me. Picking the Seahawks to finish third in the NFC West. That was my fault. Oh, okay. Sure. Okay.
With Metcalf and Lockett back,
and the rookie coming in.
And the rookie coming in.
Who's the rookie? You guys know who? You guys don't even know who the rookie is.
No,
DJ Erskine, something like that.
He's gonna get some time.
I'm good.
Sure.
All right, fans. Thank you guys for hanging with us. You a crazy show. We have Mr. Clint Lomax joining us, Seattle native. We joining us from Canada. We got Mr. Chris Haynes joining us, Yahoo Sports. Mr. Chris Haynes, Yahoo TNT joining us. Give us some feedback earlier. We got Cleavon with his same shenanigans each and every week, joining us from the Northwest. Now, we got some interesting topics here to finish off the show. Or excuse me, let me back up. We got to do This Week in History. Each and every week we talk about some historical events that just mark the country and bring us to this point where we are today. So June 23, 1904. I was thinking about the hydroplane races, man. The hydroplane races, the best week in Seattle, in my opinion. I don't know that there's a better week. It was just a weekend, but now they made it 2 weekends, right? I don't know that there's a better 2 weekends in Seattle. If there is, somebody remind me. But
miss it.
Yeah, the first American motorboat race took place in the Hudson River, 1904, 6/23/1904. So
wow.
I'm thinking
That's
hydroplanes.
crazy.
I'm thinking hydroplanes is about the only thing I can come up with there. June 22nd, 1943, W.E. Du Bois became the first black member of the National Institute of Letters. So this is back in 1943. In 1964, June 26th, black and whites riot over racial segregation in St. Augustine, Florida. So again, riots have been happening forever. Back in the 60s was crazy, so they were still happening. June 25th, Abraham Lincoln signed a bill providing schools for black children. So that's crazy that Abraham, the president of the United States, had to sign a bill for black children to get into schools. And this was back when he as a president. And then June 23, 1996, Michael Johnson broke the world record for the men's 200-meter race when he ran the 19.66. So those are some historical
1932, 9.66 split. Get it right.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
I digress. It was the fastest race I'd ever seen at the time. With
At
the
the
gold
time.
shoes on. The
Yeah,
1930.
gold shoes on. Still think the sweetest celebration. Jeez, I just had his name at the tip of my tongue. Is when the guy ran the 100, set the record, took his shoes off, and start fanning them because his shoes were on fire. Jeez,
I forgot who that was.
Is that Donovan Bailey that did that?
No, it wasn't Bailey.
No,
it was not Donovan Bailey. I actually met dude. I just had on the tip of my tongue. But that was my favorite celebration in a track event where he ran 100, took off his shoes just because they were so hot. That was crazy. So real quick, guys, we want to thank you again for tuning in, fans. Thank you guys for hanging with us. Clint, thank you for your time, for your participation as well. Let's make this quick though. Do the NBA need to revisit their replay rules?
I think absolutely. I think especially with the way that they determine whether it's a challengeable play or not, and how many you get, and how long it takes to kind of review those plays, it's definitely dragging out the game and causing delays in momentum. I don't like it. They definitely need to revisit it, in my opinion.
It's tough, right? I mean, before we had, the reviews, the only thing we had was the last 2-minute report, right? I think it was the Spurs and someone else in a playoff game, and the last 8 seconds of that game, the refs made 6 mistakes. Like literally, they made 6 mistakes on like a one single play. The goal is to get it right. Right? I mean, that's the whole goal, is to get it right. It's so hard. It's so hard to. I mean, the other night was kind of an aberration of the 2-minute rule. Maybe you can modify it where you can keep the players away from the benches, so that they're not getting like a free timeout, drawing up new plays and stuff like that. But as far as, I don't know what else you can do. I mean,
you can limit like they do the challenges. You can limit their replay requests to 2
no, but
replays.
I think they should get a second challenge. To be honest, I think they should have 2, not just 1.
If they get it, Well, that's not a bad observation or a bad solution, but to have them the game. So the referees obviously they bring that human error and that human element into the game where there's human error. Things happen. We're not going to play a perfect game. Every game is not going to be perfect. I understand since we have the technology, why not use it? I get that. That makes sense. However, when you have a game go on, the refs have the human element where they're not perfect. So maybe if you get 2 challenges, if you get 3 challenges, you use them, you're done. There's no in the last 2 minutes we replay it. There's none of that. You look at it. I for the life of me don't understand why there's not a 3 guys up in the press box watching the game. 1 representative we'll use the Clippers, the situation last night. 1 representative from the Clippers, 1 representative from the Suns, and a neutral representative. If he's the 3rd ref or the 4th ref, whatever they have, they can make that play instantly. They see that. They see the ball. It did go off of Booker's hands when Pat Beverly knocked it out. They can make it. Obviously, the guys are going to have their bias, but we can make that call instantly. Call down to the refs. Here's what it is. Don't call back to New Jersey. Don't call back to Secaucus. Don't let them review it. You have these guys in the building. This call can be made instantly from. That's how a replay should actually be done. I can do that in 30 seconds. I don't know why that's not being done. I don't know what the deal is with that. However, I think maybe if you give the coaches 3 challenges in a total game, that's all you have. Period. If you wait to use them in the last 2 minutes of the game, that's fine by you. If you want to use them 1 every quarter, except the first quarter, okay, that's how you choose to move them. But allow that for that human element is part of the game. That's what it is. It's the human element. Some of these calls can be made like we made them, playing at Miller Community Center. Dude, it was out on you. It was out on you. Let's go the other way. Okay, that's quick. That was quick and easy. Okay, I think you got to keep the human element, and you got to just kind of modify those rules just a little bit. We had the ending of the game where Crowder threw the pass to Ayton. Perfect pass. Ayton makes the perfect play, catch dunk over Zubac to win the game, to go ahead and win the game. Game winner. It was a very good play. However, it was not my game winner. It was not my favorite game winner of all time. I'm going to have to go back to that Rex Chapman play, Phoenix over the Sonics, where they threw the ball to the other side of the court. Rex Chapman catches it in one motion, shoots the 3-pointer, and goes in. I didn't like the result of the play, but I think that was the very best play, game-winning play that I've seen. What are some of the ones that you guys seen that you like?
In recent memory, Cam, you know where I'm going with this, right? It was the game the Sacramento Kings versus the Los Angeles Lakers. The ball went underneath the hole. Vlade Divac batted it back out, and somehow number 5 for the Lakers, it just kind of came right to his hands. He just kind of gathered it, just kind of swooped up and just kind of hit the big shot. They call him Big Shot something. Can somebody help me out here?
Yeah. So let me guess.
Big Shot Rock. That's what they call him. Big Shot Rock. Yeah.
Since you said that,
otherwise, I mean, who knows if the Laker dynasty continues, right? I mean, the Sacramento Kings kind of had, I believe, a little bit of momentum, almost on the ropes there, but I mean, it just changes the course of history.
There were some other things.
The universe unfolds of those two. Is what
there were some other things going on in that series that we're not going to talk about, but
anyway, big shots, right? That's what we're talking about, right?
That was a big shot.
Shots. Okay.
So since you said that, I bet I can almost guess what Clint's going to be. What's your?
You know what? I got a couple surprises for you. There's a few. Like I'll start with this one. Portland, OKC.
Oh, okay.
Paul George guarding Dame Lillard. 3 seconds left. Just pulls up from about 35 feet and just ends it, and then gets tackled. and then
That was
looks
big.
into the camera, waves bye-bye to him, gets
Yeah.
tackled, and looks right into the camera like he knew. He
Right.
knew that shot was going
Like,
in.
I mean, it's not even like he knew it was going in. Like, he does this every day.
Right.
That's what that look was. Like, he does that every day. So that was a big one. That was a big one.
The second one. So I have so many, but the second one, this is another one too. Tim Duncan hits a some kind of wild 15-footer.
Yeah, I know where that's going.
And he puts the San Antonio Spurs up by like a bucket or a point. And with 0.4 left, we all thought it was going to Kobe, and all of a sudden, here comes Derek Fisher out of nowhere, just wings it up, goes right in, and then sprints into the locker room.
Yeah.
That was huge.
That was cold-blooded.
That was big.
So
yeah.
big. That was a great shot. That is one of my favorites. I couldn't get you with the obvious ones. You already know a few of the obvious ones I have. Those are two that stick out.
I knew Fisher. Fisher was. I mean, that was an iconic moment. Another moment. That's one I had listed. Sean Elliott told the toe shot.
The toe.
He doesn't step out of bounds.
Yeah,
he doesn't step out of bounds and hits the 3 for the Spurs. That was another big moment.
That was fate. That's fate.
Huh?
That's fate.
That's fate. That's
look at that. Sean Elliott was like inches away from stepping out of bounds, and he hits his shot. But guess what? A couple of days ago, Kevin Durant turns around and gets both of his feet, his size 18 shoes, on that line. If he's wearing the shoes that he's supposed to wear, those 17s, we're talking about the Nets today.
The Nets going on. Yeah, that was big. But that Rex Chapman shot, man, I thought that was
great.
So,
the rainbow too.
Man, he caught the rainbow and then had to get it up. So catching it to get it up, that was crazy. Fellas, we got a couple more. A better coach. Who's a better coach left in the playoffs? We got Nate McMillan, Monty Williams, Ty Lue, Budenholzer. Who's the best coach? Let's narrow down. It's hard to say who's the best one, but if you're starting your franchise, which coach are you choosing to start your franchise with?
Well, starting a franchise or in a championship series, there's a difference.
I guess there is a difference because a couple of these guys. I guess there is a difference there. Good point.
I'll be quick. Starting the franchise, it would be Monty. The better coach would be Nate.
Okay.
Yeah, for the franchise, I would say I'd have to go with Monty on that. He's just, he's an overall coach. He has offense and defense in his hip pocket. As far as for a championship, I mean, I have to go with the proven Ty Lue.
The guys who've done it. Yeah, the guys who've done it.
I mean, even though he's almost in the frame, he's like a second, maybe third level under Phil Jackson as far as being able to manage superstars. Right? He's not basically. I mean, Terrence Mann is kind of the youngest guy that he has. All those other guys are veterans. Same thing he did in Cleveland. They were vets. They didn't have a whole bunch of rookies over there. And the Clippers, like they're nothing but vets on that team except for a few guys. So I have to go with Ty Lue on that one.
All right, fellas. Lastly, let's end the show on this one. We got Tank Davis versus Mario Barrios this weekend. Cleveland. Now you seen both of these guys. You saw Tank when you was here. You saw Mario's. Who you going with this weekend?
We got Tank.
You got Tank. Who you got?
I'm going with Tank. You know how I feel about boxing right now, so go with Tank.
Go with Tank.
Hey, this is a good one, guys. Tune in. There's not many fights that I'm really truly excited to see. Mario is a natural 140-pound. Tank is moving up 2 weight divisions to fight Mario Barrios, who's a natural 140-pounder. He's the champ, and for Tank to win this will be a legitimate win for Tank Davis if he beats Mario Barrios. Barrios, I'm gonna go with Barrios. Fuck it. I think
it's gonna be a tough fight. It's gonna be a damn tough fight for sure. Yeah.
Barrios has an arm length. He's taller. The thing that really concerns me about this fight is that what I've learned in boxing is that they don't fix the fights per se. They put the boxers in with somebody that they should beat. That's the closest they get. And then anybody has a good night, they can win.
And then they score it with a certain slant and perspective for the fighter that they're favoring, in which case they win rounds they shouldn't win.
So there's going to be no question about somebody winning a round that they shouldn't win in this fight, because Mario's coming to fight. He's not taking rounds where he doesn't do fill out rounds. He comes to see if you can take his punches. That's how he comes. And then Tank is going to have to lay back and either take the punches or size them up and kind of get rid of them early. So if Tank wins, it'll probably be an early knockout. If Mario wins, it's probably going to be a late knockout. But the thing that concerns me about Barrios is he's a bleeder. He cuts and bleeds easy. And with that being said, if he cuts in the fourth or fifth round and they go to the judges, then to your point, Cleavon, that's when there's the officiating comes into play there. So that's my only concern is can Mario can he stay relatively healthy, and so he doesn't cut and bleed that easy to where they want to stop the fight on him. Do we get an early stoppage? That's kind of really my only concern here in this fight. Other than that, you guys tune in. This is going to be a spectacular fight. Once again, Cleavon, the Mariners, we have to come back next week. I'm going to leave you guys with this quote here. From Bill Shoemaker, the famous
horse jockey. When you're riding, the only race which you should be concerned with is, when you're riding, only the race in which you're riding is important. Don't concern yourself. That's in the way I read that is don't concern yourself with everything that's going on in life. Concern yourself with what you're doing, what you're focused on. Concern yourself with Voice of the Fans podcast, because this is the best show for you guys to tune into. As you see, we get Canada involved tonight. Tonight, we also got a special appearance from Mr. Chris Haynes, where we get a lot of content from. So we give you guys a lot of content. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Be sure to rate, review the podcast. And as always, fans, thank you for making our voice your choice. Hey, thanks.